All right. And we are live. You guys, we have to be fashionably late. I mean, you guys are waiting to talk to some of the most awesome male, I guess, indie authors that are out there. So you guys can wait. They're like superstars to you guys. So we did have some technical difficulties, unfortunately, and we are still missing one of our fantastic authors. Hopefully Marcus can make it with us soon. If not, his loss, I guess. And you guys, jump in. Robert, you want to start and introduce yourself, introduce your work?
Yeah, sure. I am Robert P. Ottone, and I am the author of Her Infernal Name and Other Nightmares. It's kind of washed out from my key light, but there we go. Her Infernal Name and Other Nightmares, which was on the preliminary ballot for the Stoker Awards. Didn't make it to the final ballot, but I'm happy with how far it got. And I am also the author of, where is it? There it is, People, which is my first collection, and I'm in a few other collections that are scattered around my bookshelf. There's my book. Nikki's got my book. So yeah, that's me. And there's
the only one I don't have a physical copy of, unfortunately, is Chad's. I have it on the list to buy.
But that's me. Kalvin, you want to go next?
Yeah, I'm Kalvin Ellis, and I am the author of In the Hills Above the Gristmill, which Nichi just had. Sorry, I don't have one with me. I think there's one in the library in the next room, but I don't have one with me. So I'm from Denver, Colorado, and that is my debut novel.
Which is really good. I've got the nice hard cover, which is also gorgeous underneath. I have to show it. I love the color and the texture of it.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Very nice.
I spent so much time working on the covers of those books.
It takes a lot of time for everything. And
yes.
Chad.
Yeah, my name's Chad Nicholas. I am from Northeast Texas, and yeah, my debut novel was Nightmare, and it came out last year, and it was a horror novel with twists and stuff, so yeah.
It was a really good psychological horror, absolutely. Okay, well, I will let you guys know who's in here, because we've got a lot of people showing. So there, we've got Jay Maddox in the house. We've got Brad Proctor that's here. We've got Kelly hooked on books. We've got Sharon, who's also in the house. Sharon, thank you for coming. It's nice to see when you can pop in. We have Leah, who
Leah.
Robert introduced me to, which was awesome.
My favorite book of last year. My favorite non-horror book of last year that I read.
It was really good. Which
what is
I hear
it?
It's Wisps of Gold.
Yeah.
I'll put it on the list.
I was like thinking maybe I have it right by me, but I don't.
I don't have it right by me either.
We have Linda here as well. And I think that's it. Oh, Jay says, Kalvin, been a while, man. How's it going?
Hey, Jay. What's up? I just got a message from Marcus. He said that he's in the chat, but no one can see or hear him.
Really?
The ghost.
You blew it. Marcus, you blew it.
The tribe has spoken.
Let's see if we can get him. Let me see if I can get him in here.
Hey, there he is.
He is?
It says you're backstage, but only the host can see you, but the host couldn't see me.
No, it wasn't even notifying me that you were in there waiting.
Okay, good. Here we are. Hi.
Perfect. Well, then we've had everyone else introduce themselves, so you might as well go. Let me grab your book here. I got it.
Hi, I'm Marcus Hawke, and I'm a little harried at the moment. No, hi. There's my book. Good. Glad you have a copy, because I don't have a copy handy. And yeah, I wrote that.
That's it. That's it. That's what it is.
Congratulations.
It's just great. Anything I can say, I'll just pale in comparison right now. So there you go.
That should be your whole author bio.
Yeah.
I wrote that.
I wrote that.
It's just like the tag in
great.
Empire Records that says I work here. You know, there you go.
Well, we've got a full house here. Anybody that's in the comments, feel free to jump in, ask questions. I know you guys know a lot of these authors very well, or you've talked to them, or you've read their work. So if you've got any questions, pop them in, and we're just going to have a good time. This is an easygoing, laid back. I mean, spotlight's on you guys, but it's not really on you guys. Does that make sense?
There's a light from my window on me right now. That's
that
close.
counts. That
Yeah, a
counts.
little
Same.
bit. Yeah.
There's your spotlight.
I had to choose between a spot that was better lit but near a high traffic area with, the exit to the building and everything, or somewhere that's a little less well lit but probably quieter. So I went with this.
Well, it works.
There
I
you
would
go.
like to know more about where the idea for your books came from, specifically the ones that I have read. Sorry, Marcus, I still haven't read yours. It's like the one on here that I haven't, but I would like to know more about In the Hills, where that one came from, where the idea came for this one, and for Nightmare as well. So let's start with Robert again, because he's right beside me here.
Oh, hi.
Tell us more about Ohio. Yeah, I want to put on here while you guys talk. I'm not ignoring you. I'm just putting the link up on Twitter, you guys.
Thank you. Yes, what was the question? I'm sorry.
Where do you get your ideas?
Where do I get
the question every writer gets asked but can't ever answer because
that's right. Well, yours is a little harder too because it's a collection. It's not a novel. So where did some of the ideas from, or where did the ideas for, or like the main story in here come from?
They came out of a lot of my fears. So I kind of put all of my, I exercised a lot of my demons in terms of fear in that collection. So the only one that I haven't exercised yet is the fear of flying, which my therapist says only exposure therapy can conquer. So
it's a bad answer. It's a bad answer.
So so
I'm afraid of fire. Get burned. Like, what kind of answer is that?
Get exposed to the flame, my guy.
Yeah.
But so that's where a lot of mine came from. The main novella, Her Infernal Name, is really tied to sort of fears about consumption, fears about really kind of the fear of missing out, and the idea of social media becoming a sort of an all-consuming thing in our society's world, if I could be fancy. But I just recently uninstalled Twitter, so I guess it's like one of those.
None of us will shame you for that.
Do you have a favorite in here?
I would say the novella Her Infernal Name is my favorite. I also really like a lot of people seem to like Support, which is about a support group for creatures that go bump in the night. And I really like Miscellaneous Ephemera, so which is the last one in the collection.
Phenomenal title, by the way.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. They all are. Absolutely. Okay, I've got Kalvin next. I'm going to grab yours here, which also is an awesome title, In the Hills Above the Gristmill.
Thanks. Where do any of our ideas come from? But mine actually, this
Dark Places.
Yes, this particular one actually has an origin story of all of. None of my ideas I can probably point to and say where they came from, but this particular one does. I was the host and creator of probably Colorado's second most famous ghost tour, next to the Stanley Hotel, obviously. And I did that for 17 years, and I was very proud of it. We sold out every single show, like 250 people a night. And I was very proud of it. And one of the individuals that worked at the library there, she was a good friend of mine. And she said, you should come up with something scarier than ghosts to write about. And I said, well, the ghosts are what sell things. And she said, Bigfoot is scarier than a ghost. And so I took that as a challenge to write a book about Bigfoot. And there we go.
There we go.
Which is also really, really good. And I've got a few people to read this one, and we have had long discussions and lots of gushing over this one. It's really good.
Well, thank you.
And the Stanley Hotel, for people that don't know, is... Tell them.
It is the hotel that inspired Stephen King to write The Shining.
That's right.
And parts of the Shining miniseries were actually filmed there.
And we'll have some...
What's that? Dumb and Dumber, yes. And Jim Carrey.
Yes.
That I didn't know.
Yeah. When he comes out of the big grand foyer, that's the Stanley.
No, I love it even more.
Two very different movies.
I'm such a sucker for Bigfoot, so I'm stoked to read that.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. No, you definitely do. Linda says she loves Paisley Mott. Me too. Me too. We need more. And Iron Rain of Books has popped in here. Thank you for coming. Now, I feel bad I keep saying that. I feel bad. I don't have a copy of Chad's book to hold up while he talks about it. We'll just kind of hold up the red.
Can we do it in post? Can we just like put it here and then?
Well,
at
I've
that
got
spot?
it on
There
my
you go.
Kindle,
He's got
but
one.
the screen doesn't show well. Yeah, you'll have to hold it up while he talks about it.
Yeah, where did I get the idea? I don't really. There are a few books that I do know exactly where the ideas came from. This one's one of those. It was actually, because it was kind of funny. I had one idea, which is for the novel that was going to be released later this year, and then that same couple months span, I had like 4 or 5 ideas, and a lot of them didn't really pan out. But Nightmare and the other one I wrote were kind of the two that stuck out. I thought they were pretty good, and I guess Nightmare. I can't say what gave me the idea because it's kind of for the ending and would spoil stuff. But I really there was one specific thing that happened in a lot of movies that involved plot twists that everyone seemed to really not like, but I always thought was really cool. So I tried to look at reasons why everyone disliked it and reasons why I liked it, and tried to figure out how to make both work. And then from there, I had an idea to make it into a horror story, and then it just kind of spiraled from there and kept going.
It was really good, and it
as
messed
they do.
with your head. It messes with your head. You think it's one way, and then it goes the complete opposite way. It was one that was not predictable, which I absolutely love. And Linda says she loves Nightmare too, as well.
And did you ever get a hold of Foxfang for?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I'm contacting them because they're in the UK. They're not sure how the shipping is going to work out, so
Yeah,
I've got to
right,
wait for
right.
Ingram Spark to contact me back
Right.
and their customer services. But yeah, once that happens, I'm thinking Foxfang.
Your
said
call
they'll
is important
carry
to
it,
us.
so. Yeah.
We'll get back to you in a few months, maybe 6 months down the road.
Yeah, I mean, their customer service was bad before COVID, but since COVID, I just can't contact them. I just Google answers to problems. I've actually contacted Amazon KDP and asked them questions of how they figure Ingram Spark would handle something, because they will at least contact me back. And I feel bad
That's
doing
desperate,
it,
man. But
Oh my
desperate times and all that.
goodness. It sounds like they need somebody new to run the show. You're on Spotlight, Marcus. Tell us more about where the idea for the Miracle Sin came from. Get on
Where
it.
did it come from? It came. What did I say in my spotlight? Yeah, it came from. I said many things in that. So, I guess it comes from a place that I think most people have seen, but also most people identify, which is being somewhere that you don't feel like you belong. You feel like there's more, somewhere else, something else, something better, something bigger. There's all kinds of stories like that, right? Harry Potter, Star Wars, The Matrix, any number of them. And so it was basically that combined with a little bit of, there's an aspect to the book that it's like, for anyone who's seen pictures from history, like from National Geographic, of say the Tiananmen Square man, or the Napalm Girl, or the Afghan Girl, anything like that, but nobody knows their name, nobody knows where they are today, anything like that. So it kind of stemmed from, well, what if there was somebody like that who we would all know, recognize a picture of, or some, from an event or something like that, and found out what actually was happening with them, why those things happened to that person. And then I just added vampires and ghosts and demons and things, because that's what
As we do.
really happens, right? Yeah, so that's how things go. So yeah, that's more or less the gist. It was sort of the two together, and then filled with just bad stuff.
You plussed it.
I
In Disney parlance, you plussed it.
it's trauma deluxe is what it, that's how I like to think of it.
Increased its value. Like you said, it's great.
There you go.
Right? How long are you going to make me hold it up here? I mean, it's a bit of a...
No, as long as you want. Put it down.
It's a heavy book.
Yeah.
Between all of them, this is probably the big...
This book is put-downable.
Yeah, but no, don't say that.
No. In the most literal sense, sure.
So they all have fantastic covers. How did you know as soon as you saw that cover that was the one?
How do you know you're in love?
And you don't.
Yeah. You just know. I mean, I had an idea. I had sort of an idea in my head for what I wanted. I came up with, I have some skills in Photoshop, and so I put together something that I'd hoped I could use, but it turned out I couldn't, just because I borrowed something, like it was a mock-up, right? So I had to outsource it, which was fine because I wasn't married to it or anything like that. But then I went to Elder Lemon Design, which is run by someone I'm sure we all know, Kellen Patrick Burke, and he plussed it. He took my rough idea of it and made it a whole 3-dimensional thing. So, and the artwork is by a well-known, a very talented Canadian artist named Kirk Shannon. The skull part on it. So that's my answer, and I'm sticking to it.
Hey, it's a great answer. I have a thing with skulls too, so of course it jumped right out at me. How about you, Chad? How did you know it was the one?
It took me forever to find a cover artist, because the more I researched, most of the, when you look up how to get a cover, they'll be like, oh, find a cover artist that matches your style, but that doesn't really tell you how to find one. So I ended up just Googling stuff for what felt like years. I finally found Miblart, and they did a great job. I contacted them, and they asked, it's funny, they have a little paragraph where they kind of say, tell us what you want your book cover to look like. And right above it, it says, don't worry if you don't write anything. Most authors don't have a lot of ideas. And I only saw that after I'd written 7 paragraphs of this. But I kind of said, have the Black Crow. I like covers that look more of an outline rather than real stuff. So yeah, I did it, and then this was actually literally the first version they sent me. Wow. And I was just like, well, I just sent back. I was like, that's perfect. Don't edit it. And then the Scarecrow took 1 or 2 little edits on the face just to make it a little creepier. But yeah, as soon as I saw this cover, I was just like, that's perfect. I can't get any better than that.
And if you've read the book, you know. We do have a really good question here, but I do want Kalvin and Robert to say what really made their cover stand out to them before we jump into that. Go ahead, Kalvin. What was it about yours?
So I had actually sketched my cover out. I don't know if it's visible, but I did like a little pencil sketch. And so when I went looking for cover artists, I went to 99 Design and then did a little contest and put that as the inspiration art, and got a couple hundred responses, some really, really good ones. But once I saw that one, I mean, that wasn't the first edition of it, obviously, or the first iteration of it. But I knew right when I saw it that was probably it. And so I posted that as a poll to a bunch of people, and that one just beat everything else. And I'm glad, because it's the one I like the most. So.
It's got so much detail. I know it doesn't show up on camera here, but if you really look into the eye, the lens, and the camera,
the grist mill is back there.
And you've got the house in there, the trees, and I mean even the back of it. I should show the back of all these. I'm sorry, you guys. You've got the church there.
The top corner has the little guy. People don't ever notice that, but I like him. So.
Oh, I do. He was one of the first things that I saw. As soon as I flipped it over, he was just staring at me.
Damn you! You're making me want to buy physical copies of all these now.
What's
me
That's
too.
the whole point.
Marcus, I'll just send you a copy if you want.
That's okay.
What's 99 Design? What is that? What's 99
So 99 Design is it's a design website, and you can set a price and say you want to. It's kind of a contest, and so you say I'm going to offer whoever wins this contest $500 to design my cover, and the higher you go, the more people are going to submit. And so they submit, and then you can tell them what you don't like about it, what you do like about it, and they'll make adjustments to it. And you get a lot of really, really good stuff. Yeah. The problem is if you don't get good stuff, you're still stuck paying somebody for something you don't like. So I probably spent more than I needed to, but I just didn't want to get this was my baby, and I've been working on it for a really long time. So I went a little overboard. So
I know what you mean, because I did the same thing. But as you told me, somebody took your copy of my book from your desk.
Yes. Somebody here at work.
That's fine. As long as you're okay with it.
I mean, as long as she gives it back.
Well,
She's been pretty good about it. So.
we will see. And
Yes,
not,
if she doesn't, I'll
then
just
we'll
buy
deal with
another
it.
copy.
Yeah.
Cool though. That's an interesting idea.
It's part of
Yeah,
the whole
like-
experience. And we're going to jump in and find out more from Robert here. But I also want to say that Kalvin recently had a very famous Canadian celebrity just review his book not too long ago. Kalvin, do you want to say who it was? Because when I saw it, I just
it's
fell.
awkward. But how about you? Can you say it? It's just weird for me to
Devon
say.
SAWA. It was Devon SAWA.
Devon,
There you go. Marcus said it. Thanks.
Devon freaking
Good looking out.
SAWA. That's as soon as
Casper
I saw
reviewed your
that-
book. You can say that.
Not the guy from Final Destination or
wait.
Idle Hands or.
Wait,
Casper.
wait,
We
a
got-
ghost reviewed your
Way
book.
to put a spin on it, Nikki. Thank you.
A ghost, and I mean, you also have Bigfoot. So I mean, there
Perfect.
you go.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That's
as soon as I
awesome.
saw that, I messaged him. I'm like, Devon freaking SAWA reviewed your book. I lost it. I mean, he's huge, especially to us Canadians. Okay,
Yeah.
Robert, tell us, how did you know that this was the one?
Devon SAWA drew my cover. So, no, I drew.
Well, now we're talking.
Yeah, I drew a mock-up on the back of an envelope, and I went with the same guy who did my first cover, and he was just not getting it. So until I drew a version of it, so I did my own little design. He plussed it, and then that was that. I'm happy with it. I like it. It came out exactly how
like
I.
it too, actually.
Thanks,
Yeah.
man. It's What were you gonna say, Nikki?
It looks they look simplistic, but when you look at the details and the flames and everything and shaping the face, like it
Yeah.
really brings out a lot, right?
People see a lot in the fire too, which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
Things that I didn't intend. I don't know if that's
Like-
just people being cuckoo bananas or if that's
You-
just
You're
like
telling me
eyes.
you can't see eyes right
Those
there?
are Devon SAWA's eyes. I mean,
Yeah.
That's exactly right. I was
This
like,
whole-
you could
And
you
his
could fall
lips.
into his eyes and swim for days.
This whole live is gonna be all about Devon SAWA now. Well,
well,
that's
now
really
we have,
gonna
at
be
least we have
cute.
a format. Hey.
Want me to message him and let him know that we're talking about him? So
Hey,
Yeah, new phone,
that
who's this?
I mean, go for it. That would be just, oh my gosh, I think I would die. We do have a question from Deep Arya, who is also an author himself. I might have missed this, but I wonder, do you plan your chapters in detail or have dot points on where you want the characters to go, making it more organic?
I'll go first.
I was gonna say, anyone jump in.
I plot like crazy. I hate pantsing. Almost to my detriment sometimes, but then I guess at a certain point something natural will occur and I'll go, oh well, that's the end of that plot point that I had planned. I think we all probably would relate to that. But I'm working on something now, a horror novel, and my first beta reader or alpha reader, my fiance, was like, I think you should do this, 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 and this. And she's far more well-read than I am. And I was like, you got it, baby girl. That's all accurate material. So a lot of my plot points are going out the window with that, or they're getting shifted around. So yeah, definitely plotting everything first and then adjusting on the fly if I need to.
Yeah, I think that's same here. I have to have at least an idea of where I'm going, and then if things change, they change, and it's probably good that they change. At least you have sort of a rough idea. What? What's
I'm just thinking, how do you know? Maybe it was perfect the way it was. I mean, why do you
Okay,
gotta change?
Don't
such a
do this
thing?
to me now because it's done.
I'm sorry, it's out there now. So I mean, it
So-
is what it is. But how do you know? What if it was amazing?
I'll tell you something kind of funny. So my fiance was like, she read
It
the
could have been.
she read the ending that I had planned, and she was like, "Oh, I don't like that." So I was like, "No, wait." So that's something that probably will change, or something will change it, or something about it will change. So that's kind of thrown me for a loop a little bit, but she's not wrong. So
So that kind of gives me another question. Have you ever told somebody to just kind of say, forget it? I like it. It's staying this way.
oh yeah,
During editing, sometimes that happens. People will offer, they'll offer a suggestion or something like that, and a lot of the time you take it, and other times you stick with it for one reason or another.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
How about you, Kalvin, Chad?
Oh yeah, I actually told when I was querying my novel, some agents didn't like a couple of parts of it, and so I told them I don't care, I'm keeping it, and so that's actually why I self-published.
That's the good thing about being an indie author. You can do that.
Yeah, that's when I was like, I don't want somebody else to control my story,
No.
so I'm way too much of a control freak. So.
No, and that's what we're happy for, is you indie authors. You guys give me stuff to read. How about, do you plan, or you just kind of fly, you know?
Me?
Yeah.
So that book was completely pantsed. I wrote one scene, a church scene early on as something completely separate. And then when I heard the thing about Bigfoot, I just put the two together and just pantsed the whole way through.
Yeah.
The sequel and then the subsequent books, I'm having to plot a lot more because there are some through lines.
Which we
that are very,
need
very
already.
I'm working on it. It's just very, very slow.
Subtle.
Very, very slow. Yes.
Subtle.
Although that wasn't subtle at all.
Neither was what I said.
Yeah. That's right.
No, that's yeah. And when the first installment of something, you can do whatever you want. After that, you have to sort of fine tune things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. How about you, Chad? Do you plan, or you just kind of fly on your seat and go?
I can't imagine pantsing a novel. I outline it in my head for an insanely long amount of time, and then I write notes in the notes app on my phone, and then I write a full outline on a whiteboard, and then chapter by chapter I have a separate notebook that I'll take the outline of the chapter from the whiteboard, make it 3 times as long, so that way I have at least one sentence to describe every scene or paragraph. Because, like, if I just take an idea and just start writing it, it just, within 2 paragraphs, it just turns into random crap.
It doesn't work.
And then I can't make it work. So
I
can
actually challenge
only
whether that
pants.
does work.
Yeah, like, I can only pants if I know where the scene is going. Sometimes I can pants some of the stuff in the middle, but, like, to just start writing, there's just no way.
No.
It doesn't happen.
When you're pantsing, the second draft is the most important draft by far. Because I'll pants something all the way through, and I'll start reading back through and be like, this makes absolutely no sense whatsoever.
And then it changes.
And then it changes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Chad, have you ever?
Yeah.
Sorry,
Good.
Marcus. You and I, like, it must be a Canadian thing. We always like talk over each other, you know.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm sorry.
Sorry. Chad, have you ever told anybody to just screw off? This is the way it is. This is the way I want it. It's going to stay this way.
Not really. I mean, mainly because the only beta readers I have is my immediate family, and they all pretty much have my same tastes. So far, they haven't strongly disliked something. If all of them strongly disliked something, I'd really have to consider it.
Think about it.
Because the thing is, like, for Nightmare, so much of it was built around a couple of things. There wasn't really a lot that I felt like I could have changed, aside from, like, a few scenes. So, like, it's strange. So far, I haven't had someone in the writing process be like, nah, this whole chapter needs to go. Aside from, like, I'll read a chapter and think it needs to go, but yeah, like y'all mentioned earlier about the changing stuff, I hate that, because I'll read something and then I'll write a different version, and then I'll read both and I'll be like, was the first one fine or is this new one better? And then you have no idea, so you just kind of stare at them for an hour.
Questioning yourself. It's good. Maybe it's a good thing, because could you imagine if you ever had to tell one of your family members to screw off? It's staying like this. Leave me alone.
Imagine.
I try to word it a little
I
nicer.
can't wait.
Yeah.
I write.
Not my
I
immediate
did earlier today.
I write like
Earlier
everybody I
today?
know. Yeah, I write like everybody I know is dead. So that's, I don't limit myself by that shit.
I'm trying to write my memoir that way, and it's very difficult. That's not a joke. I have to pretend they don't exist.
That's
Yeah.
another one I really, really want to read. Absolutely. But then will any of you guys write me in as a character and kill me?
Is that
I'll put you in
absolutely-
there.
Sure.
I'll put
Or
you
the
in
Mistress of the
I've actually already done that. So.
You've already done that? You
Yeah.
killed me off?
In my short story collection, I named a character after you and killed her off.
I love that. Was it brutal? Was it slow? Was it quick?
If it wasn't brutal, it wasn't good. So
Okay, well, now we have to read it. I can't wait. Sorry. Sharon would like to know, is it harder to write long horror or short stories?
I think it's harder to write long fiction. Just having to plot everything out. I love the short story format so much. But I'm also really loving work. I've written 1.5 novels, and while I enjoyed it, I definitely like the getting in, telling your story, and getting out of the short story format a lot better.
And I would have thought it would have been harder to do a short story because trying to pack so much entertainment into a short story and to have that beginning, that middle, that end. So that's really neat to hear.
Yeah.
How about you, Kalvin?
This long form is definitely, in my opinion, harder because you have to try to keep that tension and that through line. Because there's a lot of really good horror that has like amazing scenes, but then you'll hit like a chapter or two that just lose it. And that will kill horror, because if somebody puts the book down in those boring chapters, if you've read a lot of Dean Koontz, he had a problem with this early on in his career. He would get way too descriptive, and it would just lose that tension that kept you rolling through. And so I think long form is definitely harder.
Don't kill me. I have never read Dean. Contest. Well, stop talking over me. Listen here. You're not far from me. I will drive there this weekend.
I didn't know that I was.
No, I'm sorry. What were you saying?
No, I said it's, if nothing else, it's an endurance contest. Like however long something is, you have to maintain it through that whole time.
Well, it's true. And I guess trying to remember everything, like all those details and everything, so you don't forget and have to go back and check. It's like kind of like telling too many lies. If you tell too many lies, you can't keep your story straight.
That's a cool way to put it, actually. That's
never thought of it that way.
I was thinking they're all nodding. How many times have they all lied? Put a guess in the comments.
Are we talking about in writing or in life?
In life. Or both.
I'm a teacher. I lie to my students every day. When are we going to use this? Oh, you have no idea. You're going to use it all the time. Totally. Yeah.
And please tell me you've been saying capiche to them a lot.
I said capiche to them. I teach English as a new language students, and most of them are from China. So if I throw capiche at them, they're like, what? What does this mean? I don't know what that is. And I love it when they do that, because then I get to give them a little multicultural lesson. But yeah, I threw capiche earlier today at them.
That's funny. How about you, Marcus? Chad, who wants to go first? What do you prefer, the long or the short?
Prefer? Well, I've written one novel that took many years and several short stories that took no years. Kind of a hard question, but they both have pros and cons. Short stories can be easier to play. I guess I'm going to go with the long form.
Yeah.
It feels a little more like a meal.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, have you seen this? Have you seen it? Like,
no, what is it?
It's a door stopper, you know?
Okay.
Just kidding. It's not that big.
You could kill a couple of bugs with that at least.
I don't know if I would want to. That would ruin the cover. Or they might find a way to crawl into this little opening here, you know?
I love that detail, actually. That was that was for the longest time. I only saw just because of the way things went, I needed a digital copy first. So I just saw the front, and then once the job was done, I got the whole, wraparound thing. When I saw the whole thing, I was like, they should have sent a poet, it was great.
I know it was a nice surprise when I flipped it over, when I ordered my coffee and it came in and I flipped it. I was like, oh, I like that.
I know.
I think I even mentioned in my stories when I got it.
You did. I
did. You remember. You got a good memory.
This is all I have.
That's all. That's all right.
These things make my day,
What about you, Chad? Do you like the long or the short?
I actually haven't written any short stories. I imagine it'd be pretty hard because you wouldn't have as much time to develop things. But I guess as far as Nightmare wasn't super long, but it wasn't still a novel. But I think it was like 24 chapters. The book I'm working on now, my third novel, it's going to be the outline's 55 chapters. And just so far, I've written 15 chapters, and it's so much more of a slow build. It seems strange to me because like I've written almost half of what the other books were, and I'm not even done with Act 1. So it seems to me it seems like the longer the book is, the harder it seems to be to maintain pacing and maintain the sense that we're still working towards something. But I don't know.
I feel awful. I'm sitting here nodding like I know what you guys are talking about. I don't. I'm not an author. I'm a reader.
Well,
I don't know what I'm
Guess
talking
what?
about.
So are we.
I don't.
That's how it
That's
starts.
right.
Yeah.
I don't think that's fair because you do these things where you have all, you interview people and stuff like that. So you know that you have to keep an interview going and stuff. It's a similar kind of thing. So, I don't think that, fair comparison, Nikki.
Nikki, is that my name? I thought I had a new nickname that you guys were supposed to like.
Yes.
We have to say the
official.
whole thing in one breath because otherwise this could get into some
In one
Daenerys
breath.
territory here. And
The mistress of the macabre.
Nikki Arcane, mistress of the macabre, breaker of chains, mother of two.
Yeah, that's right. Crazy Canadian.
Is it pronounced macabre?
Macabre, yeah.
Yeah.
I've never heard someone pronounce it. I always thought it was macabre.
I like that.
I believe it's
Sounds
French,
better
so it should probably be. We can go with macabre.
If I was going to
Macabre.
start a band, we would call ourselves Macabre.
Well, and I know some people say macabre,
Yeah.
right? They put that extra on the end. So it's always like, well, which way is it, you guys?
Say it however you say it.
Yeah,
It's fine.
exactly. Make it up.
Yeah,
Doesn't
that's
matter.
fine.
Who cares? We're going back to the covers here for a second because Leah did say all the covers are very eye-catching. I had another one here. My goodness, they just pop up and then you lose everything,
I could so say that's what she said right now, but
I thought you were going to say that earlier when I was asking about do you prefer the long or the short. I thought I started laughing thinking there
hardest
was a
thing I've
joke
ever had to
coming.
do in my life.
That's what she said.
That's what she said. Now, Sharon does want to know who your favorite authors are. I'm going to start with Kalvin on this one because I'm going to bug him a little bit.
I mean,
Because
you know who it is.
I know who it is, and I know that you know a lot about this man, and you have a lot
I
of
do.
passion for him. So, kick it off. Everyone knows the answer, right?
I mean, they probably, if they've read the book, they probably do, or know me even just a little bit. But it is Stephen King. I have a very strong
I'm just
fondness
kidding.
for
I love
Stephen
him.
King. What can I say?
Ooh.
He's honestly a
This
very
is
easy
getting-
person to hate too. But I love him. I love his work for the most part. There's a couple things I'm not thrilled with, but
Did you
It's a
Did you
different
hear
age.
that? Did you hear that Marcus doesn't really? He thinks that he's okay.
I mean that's okay. It's okay. Okay, Marcus.
I don't think Kalvin saw your spotlight.
I don't think clearly not.
I did so watch
did
the Spotlight.
you?
I've just watched. I was pretty behind on all the spotlights, so I watched them all in every one that I'd missed in a row.
Oh, that's.
It
So
gets
I
a little.
I was just fucking you. I was just thinking you'll think.
I remember
what
he
I'm
said,
showing
"I don't
you."
like him. I don't like him," and then he turned around and his clothes had changed. So yeah, I watched
I'm
it.
just kidding.
I watched it.
Yeah, it was great. It was a lot of fun. Anyways, sorry. Go on. That was very
Oh.
rude of us. We're not being
all
very
right.
Canadian-like here,
It's all right.
Marcus.
I'm sorry. Yeah, no, I love Stephen King. That's my favorite author, and I have a bunch of others, but he's definitely the dominant influence in my life, with as far as writing goes, and probably every other aspect. Just because the first of his stories I saw was Children of the Corn when I was 4 years old, and I absolutely loved it. And then I read it. Yeah, my brother locked me in a room and thought it'd be funny to make me watch it, and he came back in after it was over, and I was like, "Can we watch it again?" And then I read it at yes, and he started all this, and then I read it at 9, and at the beginning, if you haven't seen it, there's Bill and Georgie dies, and when I was 4 years old, my 3-year-old brother drowned, and so when I read that. And I watched it happen. And so when I read that, I just automatically connected with Bill Denbrough. And up to that point, I didn't know that was a thing that could happen. I didn't know you could connect with a make-believe character. So I just fell in love with that book. I didn't understand most of it when I read it the first time, but ever since then, I've just been in love with Stephen King's work and the man himself. So, not that some of his work is not problematic, because it is, and that needs to be recognized. But, as a whole, I love his body of work.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and that's okay, right? Because you can't have everything perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
Anybody else you want to jump in? Who's your favorite author or authors?
I'll jump in. So just going off the Stephen King thing, I've only read 2 Stephen King books, and one of them was On Writing, which is the only writing book anyone ever read. Yeah. And there's literally no reason for any other. And also I read Thinner while I had coronavirus, and I loved it. And I loved
Good
that
timing.
he calls him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was planned. It was totally planned, right?
But I've met him, and he is literally so sweet and super tall, and he gave my mom the biggest hug I've ever seen.
I saw that.
Yeah. So I love Stephen King, even though I've only read 2 of his books. But in terms of like authors that influenced me, Bret Easton Ellis is probably the first and most prolific one in my life. Chad Kultgen, who I think is like the more modern Bret Easton Ellis, I guess. And it's such a cliche to say this, but Mark Danielewski, House of Leaves, is the scariest thing that I've ever read in my entire life. Yeah.
I've got that one on my list, and I really want this specific cover that I keep seeing, and I still haven't got my hands on it yet.
I think, I mean, you're going to have a good time with it. It's really, really intense. But the whole reason I started writing is because of 2 authors. And one of them is John Langan, who has been very supportive of me. And I can't thank him enough. He put my book on his list for Locust last year, which was like crazy. Mm-hmm. And Brian Evanson. Brian Evanson is, if I could be any writer, it would be Brian Evanson and John Langan. Like, they're just like mind-blowingly incredible. And The Fisherman is that's probably the second scariest book that I've ever read, or that might be the scare. I reread it recently, and I wept when I was done with it. It just hit me. Oh my God, it hit me in an emotional way that the first time I read it, I was like, I love it, and then this time reading it, I just started crying, and it killed me. It killed me.
Which book was this?
The Fisherman by John Langan.
Fisherman. Yeah, I've got that on my list too. Yeah, you need a good cry.
Yeah.
Listen, I told you I'll come there. And
that'll do it.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. I was going to say I'll give you a good whoop ass. But,
you come and read me The Fisherman. I'll be dehydrated by the time I leave.
Yeah, that's right.
You leave. Why would I leave? Yeah.
Isn't it funny? Watching you guys talk about these authors that just, you can see all the passion start to seep out of you guys. It's really neat to see. Chad, Marcus, either of you guys want to jump in? Who really inspired you? Who's your favorite? None of you guys are mentioning me, by the way. Like, what the hell? What about everything that I've written? Is it like...
I love everything you write.
What?
All fantastic.
Yeah.
Good answers.
Five stars.
Yeah.
What
Listen,
did you
write? I write a lot. It's called reviews.
Yeah.
I mean...
Totally.
Just kidding.
I love your work.
Yeah, we've established that. Now I want to know who's your favorite author.
Okay, well, as probably won't come as too much of a shock, but Stephen King is one of them. Mm-hmm. The other that would probably be neck and neck would be Anne Rice. That was like if he started if he planted the seed, she definitely watered it, I guess is the best way I would put it. So those are my 2, but also I love Nick Cutter, Canadian author, wrote The Troop, The Acolyte, Little Heaven. There's a number of them, but Patrick Rothfuss for fantasy. That's The Name of the Wind, if anyone knows that. The Kingkiller Chronicles, right? Joe Hill. I like Lovecraft, even though, you want to talk problematic. Problematic, but removed from.
It was a different time too.
Very much. Yeah.
And towards the end of his life, his sentiments had started to change as well. So if he had lived a few more years, he would have had a total 180 in his personality and whatnot, I believe.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can't deny if he's got good pieces, he's a good writer. You mean
That though, like when people ask what have you read that's actually scared you, that has I've had nightmares after reading things like Cthulhu and The Thing on the Doorstep and The Haunter in the Dark. Like I actually had bad dreams from reading that and had to put the book down. Yeah. So those are those are a few of them.
What about you, Chad?
As far as authors go, I'm even though it's not horror, I'm a really big fan of Brandon Sanderson. I watched his full writing lectures before and while I was writing Nightmare. So those were really helpful. And then I've read Mistborn, and the way he handled plot twists and foreshadowing in that book was really, really good. I like who wrote Whisper Man? The name's escaping me for some reason.
Is
Brand in the
Alex?
Shadows. Alex North.
Yes.
Yeah.
Woohoo! I got something right. Look at me go.
Yeah, I really like Alex North. Of course, Stephen King. Then the one writer, he's not an author, but he writes stories and stuff that I'd say inspired me the most. I really love Christopher Nolan. I think all of his movies, like especially The Prestige. The Prestige was really. I'd written the first draft of Nightmare, and I thought it was okay, but I wasn't sure. And then about a week after I finished the script and read it, I watched The Prestige, and I was just like, this is how I should have foreshadowed. This is better. So I then started from scratch again. And I was like, I need to do better like that. So, and then just the way in all of his films, he takes concepts and really does something different. And every one is like a different, unique concept you won't see anywhere else. That's kind of me what I keep going back to when I have ideas of how can I make this something, whether incorporating some new element or something. Like the way he uses cross-cutting and stuff was really revolutionary for the films and stuff. I always try to figure out cool stuff to do for ideas kind of like that. So I'd say he's probably been the biggest inspiration as far as that goes. And M. Night Shyamalan as far as twists go, even though a lot of people don't like him later in his career, but I still like almost all of his movies. Not Avatar, but aside from Avatar,
that doesn't count. He didn't write that.
Yeah, that's right.
It's been long enough.
We don't talk about that. My theory is that he's one of two twins and he was switched with the other one.
Maybe.
There is a really good book called The Man Who Sold the World that is all about him making Lady in the Water. Fantastic book that gives you an insight that is amazing.
The Man Who Heard Whispers is what it's called, or something like that.
There you go. Yeah.
It's written by the guy. It's written by the guy who wrote Moneyball, which is also a fabulous nonfiction. But yeah, the man who heard voices, the man who heard something like that.
Something like that. The man who did something.
Yeah.
Ruined his career, basically.
You'll get many hits for that.
Yes.
The man who did Dallas.
It also highlights, which is kind of cool. First of all, I love Lady in the Water. That's actually my second favorite Shyamalan movie. But nice. It highlights how he very clearly did not want Paul Giamatti at first, and then Giamatti showed up, and it was like a love fest kind of thing. But yeah, that's
so. What's number one then, Robert? If that's number two,
Signs.
Of course, that is the correct answer. Thank you.
I'm
just realizing I didn't get to make like my head joke at the beginning of this. Like I am such a dumbass.
Do it now. Go for it.
I told everyone. I did. That's right. Damn it! I can do whatever I want. No, but we have such good questions here, and I mean, I know that each of you guys are going to have a good long answer. So I don't want to. I was just going to make a joke. I think I told some of you I was going to joke around and say everyone's going to be jealous because I get to hang around on this virtual set with a bunch of hunky, good-looking male horror authors.
It's true. We are hunky.
And that's why I wanted to make that joke, and it would have set the stage for everything, and I forgot.
Well, we just did it.
Marcus, yeah.
I gotta go.
Yeah, poor Kalvin's still at work too, and he's like, "Listen, here you got."
I'm the only one here.
I'm at home. I don't have to go anywhere.
Just me. I'm the only one in the building, so.
I thought it was going to be hilarious. I have a couple other groups that are going to be coming on, and one guy said that we should call it Hunks Between Pages. And I was like, yes.
Oh, there's gonna be a
Okay.
porn parody of this.
Anyways, we are the ones that are misbehaving here, Marcus, and we're supposed to be the good ones. We're Canadian. We're supposed to be, well behaved, kind. Stop it now. Lewis popped in, and he has this great question. When you're writing, creating, is the story just words in your head, or do you visualize, see people, events like a movie? I think I would probably visualize it for sure.
I visualize.
Yeah.
Big time.
100%.
That was actually one of the biggest issues for me at the beginning, because I watch more movies than I do reading. I read books and I read as much as I can, but like I'm also a massive fan of movies and I watch quite a bit of them.
Mm-hmm.
So early on when I had the ideas as a movie. So trying to switch it into something I could write myself was just really difficult because I didn't know how to describe what was in my head with words. So that's what took the longest to even figure out how to get started.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had that problem.
Has it gotten easier?
Somewhat.
Yeah, exactly. And there's just degrees of
I've gotten better at editing.
learning to do that. Yeah,
That's way better, way more important.
that is writing.
Mm-hmm. I have mad respect. You guys, I could not do what you guys do. I can read what you guys do, and I enjoy that. But
You say that, but people think
Listen.
that there's a trick to it. That people think that like I can't do this, I can't do whether it's writing or art or music or whatever. You can do it. No, really,
It's just time.
seriously, like that's
Okay, that's it. So I'm going to become the best horror author out there.
that's
Just you wait. I'm going to be the
There you
next
go.
Stephen King.
Nikki's going to end up more
Stephanie
popular.
King. There you go.
You see
There's your
Kalvin Ryan's
pen name.
pop up there? Yeah, good luck.
We need more of that.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we don't. Maybe we don't. There's a
No,
lot
we
of people
don't.
out there,
No, we don't. Let's
myself
leave him the
included,
spot.
that are trying to be him. So
No, let's leave him where he is because he deserves that spot. We have another really good question here, and I didn't even see that Book Invasion popped in. Hey, Scott, thanks for coming by. Oh, a horror band.
Ooh.
Ooh, authors
I
that you would
mean,
want in your lineup. I mean,
can we just use the Rock Bottom Remainders? That's a band of authors with Stephen King in it. So.
that works. That works.
I'm trying to think. I saw that question before, and I'm like, well, who would I want in there? Like, do I want to go with actual musical skill, or do I want to just pick who I would hang out with, who I would have the most fun hanging out with?
Maybe a mix of both.
Well, you know who would? I mean, Curtis Lawson, because the guy actually was in a bunch of bands, so definitely Curtis Lawson for sure. Laird Barron, I would throw in there because why not?
On drums for sure.
Say it again.
On drums for sure. Laird Barron. Yeah.
Yeah. Paul Tremblay, because I think he's musical also. And I think you got to throw in Linda Addison on lead vocals.
Anyone else?
No, I'll
You
just
guys
listen to
all
that
just
one.
kind of looked.
Maybe
It's got some good taste.
have Bram Stoker as the front man because he's dead, so it'll add like a nice
Just prop him up in the front.
morbid quality to things, right? Yeah, just prop him up,
Just
exactly.
falls out.
Have a stagehand above just pulling the strings.
You guys should have Brahm in there because that guy, I swear, he hasn't aged a day. He
Gerald
still
Brahm.
looks the same, and he looks like he's got that rocker, style. Like, yeah, he should be in there.
He's
somewhere.
been he may not admit it, but he's been a roadie for somebody, I'm sure,
Oh,
at some point.
Who
Might
hasn't?
have been a local
Yeah.
band, but yeah. Yeah.
anyone else has to add to that?
Well, Book Invasion said Mallerman. Mallerman's in a band. So yeah, for sure. You have to
Is
throw
he
Mallerman.
really?
Yeah, in his Stoker Award speech, he played a song.
Oh, interesting.
Oh,
That's a way to go.
I'm catching
Yeah.
up on
Runs
all
Bird
of
Box,
these.
right?
Yeah, Bird Box and Mallory
Mhm.
and a whole bunch of
Oh,
awesome stuff.
And his newest one.
Yeah, Goblin.
Listen, this just came in today, and I pre-ordered it, so I'm mad that it took that long to get to me. But they left it on my front door on an extremely rainy day in a box.
Oh, that's not cool.
and it sat there from noon until when I got home. And I'm lucky that it was not damaged, because this book is $37 Canadian.
Oh my
So-
God, what is with Canadian funny money? Why
I
is
think that's bad.
Canadian
I
funny
don't
money so
know.
You think
ridiculous?
that's
I don't-
bad? Try buying things from the UK right now.
Oh my goodness.
Our dollar's about half of a pound.
No, listen, try shipping things from the US. People are wanting like $50 for shipping for like a $20 item. And it's like, what the hell? A candle, one candle that costs $16 US. Plus the conversion is $26 for shipping for one candle. Why?
Shh, don't ask why. Just close your eyes and tell
Okay.
yourself you need these things.
Just okay, and just
That's all that
tap,
matters.
tap,
Yeah.
tap. Just start
Yeah.
buying.
Exactly.
Go broke.
Yeah.
Listen, okay, all right. I'll take you
You
up on that.
can eat the books when you're done reading them.
Burn them
Sure,
for
or-
warmth.
Or
Exactly,
Just not,
yeah.
Or just not eat. I'll just pile them on top of me. Yeah, and yeah, as I wilt away, they'll keep me warm, like Chad said. Yeah, absolutely.
This is taking such a Les Miserables turn here.
I don't know. We've got some comments in here that are saying that we're just having so much fun. Yes, we are. But you have to remember,
We're
I know
all drunk.
these
That's what you
guys.
don't know.
Drunk? What are you talking about? I swear this is water. I swear.
I don't drink.
That's all it is. I don't drink. No, but I really don't drink.
No, I don't either.
Neither do I.
But I know all these guys. I talk to these guys all the time. So, of course, I know they're.
I've never
I know
spoken
they're-
to you before today. I don't know what you're talking about.
Shut the hell up.
Who are you people?
Yeah,
There's.
I just
there's
got
a
an
reason.
email with a link. I clicked on it.
Yeah. Why would you
Doesn't
do
everybody do
that?
that? Because there was a
Why would
Nigerian
you do
prince that
that?
said that they needed my help. I want to help.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, there's a reason why I put all these guys together, because they had all the same type of personality and stuff. I was like, I think this would be a great show because you
It's
guys
either
are all
a great
freaking
idea or a
hilarious.
terrible one.
Listen, Marcus, you need to just shut up now. It was a great idea. Yeah, there's a reason why. Absolutely. Okay, let's find. I had a question here. You made me lose it, you guys. Listen, somebody's got to sponsor me so I can get a proper setup, so I'm not doing this on my freaking phone, so that I can see everything. And
Well, what
if
does
you're
that
watching,
run you?
to be sponsored or to buy,
to get a decent whatever.
man, I would need a proper setup, proper lighting, maybe an actual camera, because I do everything with my phone. Even all my Bookstagram photos, it's all with my phone.
Mistress
I
of
know
the
I'm-
Macabre, GoFundMe.
Yeah, that's right.
.com.
GoFundMe. Oh, that would have
I'll
never
donate.
work.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. When writing to scare and shock and awe, do you ever feel the need to consider the social political climate to ensure you don't go too far, or do you ensure that you just do it? I would just do it. I mean, no, I wouldn't.
Really depends on what it is, I suppose. But so I wrote a short story a little while ago that was in Bitter Chills, and I had an idea. I won't give it away, but I had an idea for an ending that I thought that might be going a little too far. Let's do it. That was basically how what I thought of it. So it wasn't like politically incorrect or anything like that. It was just very, yeah. Some people thought that was a little too much, but other people were like, that was amazing. That just, I thought, I don't know. I thought about it. I wrote it down. Sometimes you got to let the chips fall where they may, I guess. Depends on what it is, but.
Sorry, I'm listening. I'm just laughing at some of these comments. Yeah, I'll stand at the border. You guys throw stuff across, okay?
It would have to be right at the border.
That's right. Yeah, we
Yeah.
wouldn't get close enough.
I can't throw, my book that far. Unless you
The
turn it on your
doorstop is
scale.
pretty
And,
heavy.
I think
Sorry, I'm going back.
in terms of talking about political climate and stuff like that, I have a story out. I think Lewis is in this also. I haven't looked at it, but Unburied is a collection of LGBTQIA plus stories. So when I was asked to contribute to this, I wanted to be culturally sensitive at the same time, but also I wanted to tell a story that I knew to be true from various perspectives, whether the individual identified as straight or an individual identified as LGBTQ. So in telling that story, I knew I was dealing with sort of a controversial thing that happens in the story, but at the same time, it felt true, and it was true because it's literally a thing I knew that happened to multiple people. So I think on the one hand, yes, you have to be a little culturally sensitive, but at the same time, I don't believe in trigger warnings personally. Like, I get if you need them, like, cool, like that's fine, but like I don't need them. I wouldn't want them, and I've been beaten up in critique groups for providing them. So I want to be challenged by things that are going to sort of, upset me. Like, that's the idea of horror. So if something is socially offensive or politically not how I lean, I'm still going to read it because I'd like to see if it scares me, So one of the people in my critique group is very much polar opposite to how I am politically, but at the same time, his critiques are no more, his critiques are not invalid because of that. So I think being open to all sorts of horror and not being bound by, political, if you want to say political correctness or whatever, I think there's value there.
Sure. No, absolutely. And I was going to say trigger warnings. I don't really understand that either. I know even when you're reviewing, people will actually get frustrated with you if you don't give trigger warnings when you're doing a review. And I'm like, I don't know. To me, not much bothers me. So I pick it up, I read it, I enjoy it. Maybe I don't see the triggers that other people may have. So maybe that's my problem. I don't know.
I think it's important to remember that the trigger warnings aren't for the author. They're for potential readers. I have written some things that I would not want certain people to read. And what I heard actually a really good suggestion that you put the trigger warnings at the back of the book. This obviously only works for physical copies. And then put a thing up at the front that says, if you need trigger warnings, they're provided at the back of this book. Obviously, ebook makes it a little more difficult, but the book I'm currently working on has a lot of very intense imagery. And I know people who have gone through similar things. My work with foster care in the courts has sadly provided me with a lot of detail into that. And I would not want one of these people that have gone through that to read my current book. So hopefully, that helps stop somebody from running into something that they didn't expect and spending a couple extra hours in therapy because of me.
No, absolutely. The way I see it, I mean, if I was picking up a horror book, I'm kind of expecting it to it may shock and awe me. There may be stuff in there that I'm not prepared for. But I mean, picking up something like that, like if you're writing about your life history, your family or something like that, it may,
absolutely. And that's like super important is to like when you're talking about like own voices, like Robert was mentioning, it is really important to have the truth in there. And it doesn't necessarily have to be your truth, but it has to be the truth. And when we're talking like political stuff, as long as you're punching up, you should be fine. Just don't attack the little guy. And
no, it's very true. That's very true. Like Betty by Tiffany McDaniel.
And talking about the own voices thing, there's also value in sensitivity readers. Also,
Absolutely.
If you're dealing with a potentially marginalized group of people, it's very important to have somebody from that group. I was working on the story for that collection. I had looked at by some sensitivity readers, and a piece that's in my collection, Her Infernal Name, I had looked at by some sensitivity readers, and I started working on a YA thing that I had a bunch of sensitivity readers lined up for. So there's a lot of value there. So if you haven't done that, it really gives you brilliant insight into things that you never in a million years would have considered.
And often makes the story better.
Absolutely.
How about you guys? Sorry, do you need me to pop the question up again?
Sorry, I rambled a bit there.
No, that's okay. I like that because then it keeps the conversation going, and that's where you get to learn. I will find it. It's here. There are so many of them, you guys. I don't know if we've missed any.
Yeah, there's a lot of really good ones. Yeah, there's a ton.
Oh, the shock and awe. Like, do you try to steer away from the social political climate, or do you? That one right
Oh.
there.
Oh, I answered that one.
What about you, Chad?
Chad,
What do
did you?
think?
I don't know if Chad did though.
Yeah, I don't think I did. I don't know. I don't see myself ever including politics in a book, especially, at least not where it's like, at most it would be like some moral theory, not it like question. It would never be strict politics because that's just not something I enjoy. I get people that do it. I don't have a problem if it's there, but usually, unless it's handled subtly, it's more distracting than anything. But so I don't really consider political stuff just because I don't write that anyway. As far as social, so far I haven't. There hasn't been really anything that I've considered. There's only, of all the books I have planned, there's only one that worries me a little, just because the way it's going to end. I'm afraid people might take it as a metaphor for something, just because I could see how you could get there. And if it's taken as a metaphor, it really does not mean what I want it to mean, and I could see why people would get upset at it if it's taken as a metaphor. That book's like 10 years down the line. I got quite a few others to get to for it, but like it worries me a little just because I'm afraid people, instead of taking it literal, they'll think it's meant to symbolize something. But aside from that one specific case, I don't really, just because the types of books I've written, aside from just violence, which is normal in horror, they don't really have any political or social themes, so I haven't really put much thought into it, I guess.
Well, I guess one thing I didn't actually mention was that in my book, and probably the next one, is that there's quite a bit of religious commentary.
I kind of figured that just by the title alone.
Yeah, you can tell. But so definitely punching up, I guess, as Kalvin would say. It's definitely that. Yeah, it's not trying to shit on anybody or anything like that who believes whatever they believe. That's fine, but it also doesn't handle things with kitty gloves. Exactly.
Yeah. No, absolutely. You have to be prepared. If you're wandering down the road of horror and different subgenres within horror, you definitely have to be careful, because you can have trigger warnings on the back of the books. I know a lot of authors will actually put trigger warnings right in like the Amazon description or the Goodreads description at the bottom to kind of give you that heads up, kind of like TV. I mean, I understand the viewer discretion. I get that as a parent. If you're sitting there and next thing you know you have a viewer discretion, then it's time to run in there and turn it off before the kids get it, right? But with books, for me, I think, like I said, trigger warnings don't bother because I don't have too much that bothers me. I think the only thing that will shock me or bother me is when it has to do with kids, and particularly kids that are vulnerable, that can't protect themselves or even attempt to. Yeah. I know even Eric LaRocca's most recent piece had a moment in it that I was literally shocked out of my mind, and I had to actually put it down and go back to it. And it's something that you can devour in one sitting, right? And I'm like, I can't believe he did that to me. But at the same time, I loved him for it because I loved the writing, and it was done this is a word I use lots for horror, which is the wrong word to use. It was tasteful. Does that make sense?
This was Things Have Gotten Worse Since Last We Met.
Yeah.
Okay. That one's I haven't read it, but it's come up on my I mean, I think if you read and or write horror, you're open to
you're twisted,
a lot of
you're messed up.
Let's put it that way. Sure.
Yeah, that's right. You've got some crazy ideas.
Yeah. There's really no two ways around that.
There is a line. Yeah. There are things out there that I'm thinking, why?
I don't want to, let's say, for a lack of argument, I have a reader that wants to read my book and they love horror, but they have been sexually abused or assaulted. I don't want to eliminate everyone from reading my book that has had that example. And I don't want them to say, well, I can't read horror because what if I stumble across some sort of imagery that hurts me? I would feel bad about that. They can't, not that they stumble. I mean, I would feel bad if they stumbled across it in my book, but I would feel bad that they couldn't then enjoy horror the same way I enjoy horror because they suffered something. And that's where I think that they're pretty helpful.
Yeah,
it
absolutely.
allows them to be able to say, okay, I'm prepared for this now, and we'll ingest it. Yeah. Because
trigger warnings don't always scare people off. Sometimes it's like, okay, now I know that at some point I'm going to have to face this.
You know,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
there's something to that too. Like, didn't we all who didn't buy a CD because it had the explicit content?
I won't buy it if it
Right?
doesn't have explicit
Exactly.
content.
So
I
you know,
did not.
there's-
I was a good girl. I did not. Just kidding. Yeah, that's right.
yeah.
Lie,
So
lie number one.
I've always thought
Number
that
one?
it's weird. I've always thought that it's weird that like movies, there's the MPAA ratings, but there's never been anything for books. Like there's young adult and adult,
Yeah.
but that's pretty much it. I've always thought that there should be some kind of like, it doesn't have to be super specific, but instead of authors and reviewers having to give trigger warnings, like the publishers should just come up with like a rating system of like, this fantasy book has tons
No.
of violence and
No.
Robert's
not
like,
at all.
this is rated
Okay.
R.
This
I'm in the
is-
minority then.
All it would take is like, oh well, what doesn't sell enough? Cool, we're not going to put that out anymore. That would kill it. That would
That's
a good
kill,
point,
that would
too.
kill publishing even more.
It's why you
They
can't
would
get an
find-
R-rated
Where's the
movie
line?
made.
Exactly. That's exactly right, Calvin.
Somebody somebody dies, but there's no blood, then it falls into one or the other. Yeah,
Exactly.
it's a tricky thing.
Yeah, look at the
Yeah.
Golden Compass movies. Those things are a bloodbath, but there's no physical blood in it. Same thing with the Avengers. The first Avengers movie is an absolute bloodbath, but because there's no actual blood spilled, it's PG-13.
P13. Yeah.
Mhm.
Can't do a rating.
Okay,
Oh, this is
sorry.
a good. This has enlightened me.
It makes you
Yeah,
think, right? And
it
it's good to
does,
hear
no.
other people's ideas and thoughts and their thought process. Because, like I said, for me, trigger warnings don't really bother me. There are things that will kind of like, and I'm like, okay, please cross my fingers that the author deals with this in a tasteful manner.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they do. Sometimes they don't, and or they leave it as like a cliffhanger at the end, and it will take away some of my rating. And I'm thinking, well, what the heck? Why did they have to ruin the story like that? But that's me. There are other people out there that struggle. And I mean, I'm not going to say I haven't gone through things in life that should trigger me. I guess I'm just that messed up in the
Sure.
head.
Yeah.
That
Well, I
can't
mentioned
even
that-
think about it. Yeah.
I mentioned that I lost my brother and watched him drown in front of me at 4 years
Yeah.
old, and that was the thing that actually I connected with was Georgie, dying at the beginning of it, and so that was actually the connection for me.
that pulled you in.
Yeah, and so had you told me that was in the book, I might not have read it, but I might have also been curious. I was a lot younger then too, but yeah. So we don't know how they're going to react. I just think it's nice for us to give them the option to decide on their own.
That's right. Absolutely. And they may think that you dealt with it in a good manner, and maybe they don't. And
Yeah, sometimes
Right?
we don't.
absolutely. No, I agree. We have another question here. We've passed that hour mark though. Are you guys all still good?
I'm fine.
I'm good.
Okay.
It hits a minute.
I like to ask too, because I usually only do that hour mark, and then I ask because you guys all have lives.
I
mean,
played Dungeons and Dragons through Discord from about noon till 10 o'clock at night. So this is a warm up for me.
And now, is this just like an everyday occurrence, or is
No,
this
once
because
a
of
month.
COVID, or is this just because you're bored?
Yes, yeah, all of the
And
above.
yes, okay, all right. What author would you like to rewrite another author's novel? This question I like because Robert. Sorry, I never know if I should call you Rob or Robert. You gave me the idea I always ask it now is if you could rewrite any classic horror, which would you pick? So this one kind of entails the same idea. If you were to rewrite another author's novel in their
Yeah.
own voice,
In their own voice? Yikes.
that would be hard. Except for
yeah,
I can
really
see
hard.
Kalvin channeling Stephen King now.
I guess I feel like I could do American Psycho.
Yeah,
Yeah, I could do
I
American
could see
Psycho.
that. I could see that.
Oh, is this us rewriting their work?
Yeah, in there, but
Oh.
using their voice. Who would you?
Interesting.
That's the cool part is using their voice. So it's like
Yeah.
us doing our best impression that we
Yeah.
possibly could. Yeah, that's cool. That's a cool spin on it.
I think I'd want to do either Misery or The Shining, or merge the two because I'm sure Kalvin, for sure you'll know this, but there's an Easter egg for The Shining in Misery. That'd be kind of neat. Like
Mhm.
put Annie Wilkes in the Overlook
Yep, that'd be fantastic.
and go right. Yeah, exactly.
I might maybe Pet Cemetery. I would enjoy
Oh,
that.
that would be
I love
good.
the
Yeah.
themes of loss of family and everything in that one.
hmm Chat.
For me, it'd be Scarecrow.
I'm sorry.
From Batman. I want to write a Scarecrow novel so bad. I had legitimately have a full outline for a Scarecrow novel. I'm just hoping one day DC finally lets me write it.
I've got a trigger warning for
Hug 'em,
Chad's
man.
book. If you don't like crows, don't read it.
Let's see. That's just it. Somebody might have a phobia of crows and say,
He's
just didn't warn me at
created,
the front.
but just wait, he's created a phobia of crows in me because I tell you,
like
after
that.
I read his book, I was out playing with my youngest in the park behind my house, and we had a murder of crows come in, and I was like, "That's it, they're here to take me."
I did the math
Good job,
the other
Chad.
day, and the word crow, I think, popped up 175 times, which meant it was on like once every 2 pages, and I was like, wow, that's quite a bit.
Drinking game, woo! Shot every time you see a crow.
Get through half a chapter before
Yeah, that's right.
you pass out.
If a studio picked up your book, which director would you
Me.
love to direct?
Sorry,
novel,
didn't
short
even
film
let you finish the
collection?
question. Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say because you've dabbled in that before.
Yeah. No, I mean, I wrote the book. Screenplay is my first love. Novels are what happens when you don't have any friends, but you want to make movies. At least to me, it's not no judgment on anyone else. I loved movies. I wrote screenplays. I grew up in a video store, and movies are my thing. That's my tattoo is the first 2 words in every screenplay. So I wrote it with the idea that someday I would be able to make Paisley Mott as a series or at least a movie.
Nice.
So.
That's cool.
That is really cool.
I
I really like your tattoo.
Thank you.
That's awesome. I
Most people don't know what it means.
What's that?
Oh, I was just saying most people. I wear my sorry, my camera's falling down. I wear my shirts like this all the time because I hate short sleeves. So most people just assume it says "made in" instead of "fade in," and so like "made in where?" And I'm just like, it's very awkward.
I'm made in Canada.
There you go.
I also had my start in screenwriting, and I had the Disney Screenwriting Fellowship for 1.5 years. So
Oh wow,
Oh, I remember you
Hashtag
saying that.
Nolan.
Yes,
awesome.
Yeah, that was a lot of
that's
fun.
really cool.
But if a director was to do any of my stuff, Ari Aster, because everybody goes nuts for his stuff. I don't go nuts for his stuff, but whatever. Everyone else likes it, and it'll make a ton of money. So keep it coming, baby.
What's he
Yeah,
done?
absolutely.
Midsummer and Hereditary.
Oh yeah.
He actually has, I'll tell you this, he has a movie, I think he made it as a student, called like We Need to Talk About the Joneses or something. You can find it on Vimeo. It is the best thing that he's ever done, and it's a short film, and it is so dark,
Hey, D&D for the win.
so ugly. So dark and so ugly. If you can find it, check it out. I think it's called We Need to Talk About the Joneses or the Johnsons
That sounds
or something.
familiar.
Oh my God, it's unbelievable. But yeah, I would go with him.
I'd say Tim Burton or
Kalvin.
maybe
I'll do it.
Actually,
Sold.
you know what? Ideally, what I would like is not even to have like a movie. I'd like to have some sort of animated series.
Oh, that'd be fun.
I think so. If that ever, by some either miracle or blasphemy, happens, you and me, we're gonna take that on together if you want.
Well, that's
I mean,
it.
I love writing animated stuff. So.
Yeah.
We need to get Robert and Kalvin together to do all of your books.
I'm down.
Okay. All right. I was waiting. There was a bit of a pause there. I thought, God, what did I just say? How about you, Chad?
Probably Christopher Nolan. Again, I
There you
just
go.
love every movie he's done. If not him and more horror, I really love David Sandberg. I think the horror he's directed, Lights Out and Annabelle Creation, were really, really good. And all of his short films on YouTube are also cool. So if not Nolan, I think he'd be a good choice. But yeah. Or me. I'd like to learn directing
There you go.
eventually.
Yeah, there you go. You can join the team. We have another question here, but before I jump into that, I do want to say I was talking to my lovely friend, my bestie, Linda, and I talked to her quite often on the phone before, like almost every single one of my lives. And she was saying, now I'm going to get this wrong because we were kind of bantering back and forth about it. She was saying how cool it would be to take the 4 of you and have you guys each jump in and co-write a murder mystery where each of you get to take one character and make it your own. and somebody dies, and either one of you guys is the killer, or maybe even all of you guys is the killer.
I'm gonna have to go
I like
Rick and
it.
Morty and say, "You son of a bitch, I'm in."
I'm in. That sounds fun.
Yeah, I think that would be such a plot. It would be hard to create.
I call
that's for
Butler.
Sure, but yeah, that's right.
Dang, you-
Okay, but who would be the killer? Who would openly
Me.
admit that?
We
that's
can't
it,
tell
they
you
would wanna-
that.
Yeah,
That's
Chad,
the
but
opposite of
I
a
wanna
murder
write
mystery.
it.
Tell
But
me
I
who
would-
the killer is.
But I wouldn't know who his character is, who he creates, right?
Mm.
I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe no one's the killer. How about that for a murder mystery? Maybe the victim killed themselves. No one's ever done that before.
It's funny that you say that. 'cause
I don't want to spoil it, but there
Oh,
was
no?
a movie pretty recently that was about exactly.
Oh, I
that.
know what you mean.
That's-
Okay, yeah, I actually, I forgot.
It's funny. It's funny that you said that because I said the same thing. I said, wouldn't it be cool if they did that, but they didn't like chat about it while they were writing. They just, that one person dies.
There will
this
be a
is where
murder
they
one way or
die.
the other that way.
That's right.
Yeah.
Whatever. I think it would be fun.
Yeah.
Maybe one day, 10 years down the
I
road,
like
you guys
murder
have lots
mysteries.
of
I
projects.
don't know a whole lot of them.
You don't know a whole lot of them.
I don't. I haven't read or watched a whole lot of them. Like there's like The Orient Express, Knives Out. I've been
Knives
recommended a
Out's
few. Yeah. Del Toro. Yeah, good. That'd be a good one too.
Okay.
I'm still
Christina
sad he
asked-
didn't get to do.
Christina
what
asked a
happened?
question that I've been trying to get to. If someone is suffering from depression, reading horror makes a person more depressed? ?
I don't think so.
Depends
I
on
think
what it
it's-
is.
Yeah, I think it's the like. I don't want to get too deep and too sad and sentimental, but I had a really, really crappy life, and the reason I always gravitated towards horror is because it's the scary things we can control. We can close the book. We can pause the movie if we need to, and so we get to see that tragedy can happen, but there's a happy ending. So I always found that in my darkest times, horror was actually what I preferred to read.
Yeah, some people
yeah.
find it really comforting, right? Yeah.
Well, there is such a thing as comfort horror. Like it's not even like a specific genre, but there's lots of reading lists that people compile for things that like I'm sure It is one of them. I'm sure I won't waste your
The
time, but
Miracle
yeah,
Sin, Her Infernal Name,
yeah,
Nightmare,
that'll totally make you feel better.
Gristmill,
Actually,
yeah.
it very well might. I don't know. I've had some people say that it's something I never expected to hear, but it can be.
There is that comfy horror, just like there's a cozy mystery, right? So
yeah,
absolutely.
So there should be a comfy slasher.
There is.
Yeah.
I've got some right here.
I don't know about anyone else, but you put on Freddy versus Jason, and I'm a happy guy.
I love that
There
movie.
you go.
Right?
Love that movie. Yeah.
Right.
I haven't seen it.
Did you know the wrestler Rey Mysterio was Freddy during the fight in Jason's dream?
I don't think I did know that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Even I know that, and I don't watch as much horror as I read it because I'm usually got my nose stuck in a book.
Going to the question or whatever. After my dad passed away, if I didn't get back into writing and reading, with the help of my fiance and my therapist, I would have fucking killed myself without a doubt. I'd be dead. So reading horror and writing horror, and my fiance and my therapist have definitely kept me going for sure. So, and that's the most depressed I've ever. I always will have. I wrote about this in an interview I just did, but like, I'll always have like a layer of depression directly under the surface because of my dad passing away. Like that's always like until they put me in my mushroom suit and throw me in the woods, I'm going to have that. So like, if I am not able to write or not able to read or indulge horror in some way, that's just going to be even worse. So for me, it's
cathartic.
Yeah.
There's things people can connect to in it, and I think both for a reader and especially for a writer, you can use those things to sort of purge.
Yep.
Oh, absolutely.
Explore. Yeah.
Anyone else have an answer to that? Chad, you want to jump in there and you're just
More
kinda
depressed?
Like, no, I'm good.
Less depressed?
I pretty much agree with everything that was said. I don't read horror as much as for like depression or anything. I just read it because I like to be scared, I guess. But I don't really have as much, I guess, experience or thoughts surrounding it for that reason. So I don't really know how to answer it.
That was a really good question, though. That would be really hard to answer, right? Because I guess it's hard to say because maybe it's true for some people, but I don't know. I see a lot of people that have had hard lives and, really sufferable backgrounds that really immerse themselves in horror, watching horror, reading horror, writing horror. So it's neat because you don't hear the same from a fantasy author or contemporary author or a YA author, right? You usually don't hear the same background. It's or I haven't anyways. It's usually like the mystery, the psychological thrillers, and
it's probably the one genre that people wear their scars on their sleeve. Like it's not something. Yeah, you're right. Like in fantasy and maybe YA and stuff, I don't think people actually routinely come out and say this is because I'm fucked in the head or something like that, right? that wouldn't work for the Hunger Games, right? It's
Robert
what we were all thinking it.
I mean, I'm not going to deny that. I mean, I'm not an author. I don't write horror, but I'm not
Which
going
is
to deny that I'm not.
I mean, you mentioned the Hunger Games. The Hunger Games is so incredibly dark. Like that is
that's a story about a bunch of teenagers killing each other.
Yeah,
what's not dark about that in a dystopian future? Like,
or just America every day.
It's funny. I have I've had a few people come to me. Okay, I'm going to call myself out here again, and I hate doing this, but you know what? I'm honest. When I first started my channel and when I was reviewing for publishers and stuff, I was getting YA contemporary, YA fantasy, maybe a little dabble of YA sci-fi. And one of the questions I did on this tag was, what is the one genre that you could live without? And my answer was horror and sci-fi. And I will kick myself in my ass for the rest of my life for saying that, because shortly after, I found the world of horror. I found the world of, like the dark sci-fi, all of that good, dark, delicious stuff. And that's what I've fallen in love with. And that's what really sits near and dear to my heart. I have a very vast reading, broad range. But dark is where it's at for me, where my heart lies, where my soul kind of connects, right? So I kick myself in the ass for saying that all the time. But I have a lot of people that come to me and say, okay, so this is what you used to be. This is what you used to read. Where do you start in horror? There are so many subgenres within. Where do you go? And how do you know what's right for you? Where should you start? And I mean, I'm not a professional by any means. There's other even booktubers out there that have been reading horror a lot longer than I have, and that I always say, go talk to them. But there's a lot of people out there that are reading a type of subgenre within horror, and they don't even realize it. Like you say, Hunger Games, there's such a dark aspect about that story. A lot of fantasy, a lot of sci-fi has a twinge of horror in it, and people are like, I would never read horror, it's not for me. Chances are they already are, or they have, and they've really enjoyed it.
The spectrum.
So in the classroom, right, like I'm always trying to find ways to bring horror into the mix, and it's like, yeah, okay, great, we'll do Edgar Allan Poe and blah blah blah, we'll do Frankenstein, which is fine, but like Lord of the Flies is horror, y'all. That's horror. And people are like, oh no, it's a survival story.
Yeah,
and it's like
that is survival, if not horror.
Yeah,
I mean,
really, a character
you gotta do some horrible shit to survive.
A character face to face with the devil in that book. It's like, oh yeah, it's just a survival story about boys being boys on an island.
And they read it in 5th grade, But that's the point. There's a school of thought that horror is low fiction or that it's low art or something like that, and I've never thought that. I don't agree with it. I've never thought that. I think it's got to be more normalized as far as, I mean, even like if we want to cross mediums into film, I mean, I think one maybe 2 films ever that have been horror films have ever won Best Picture, right? Like Silence of the Lambs, and can anyone think of another, right? Like
Jaws, maybe.
It's which
Jaws. I think
Jaws. It didn't win. It was nominated, probably.
The Exorcist was nominated. Silence of the Lambs won. Parasite. Parasite's a horror movie. That one.
Sure. Yeah.
Usually the
Psycho.
No,
Psycho. It didn't
No.
win. No, 1960.
that would have been
Patton.
considered
Are you sure
exploitation.
Jaws didn't win?
No,
Wait,
not
1975. That would have been One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Oh yeah, dang it.
Sorry.
Jaws should have won.
I
It's
agree.
really. I mean, it's
Marcus,
really
I
neat
like
to
you
think
more and
about.
more every day.
Oh, we've got,
I
like,
know.
some
I know.
brotherly
I know
love
everyone
happening.
from 1960 up to the present. I think I might be a little rusty, but anyway.
I think if anything was gonna, like in the modern era, other than Silence of the Lambs, and even then, Silence of the Lambs was being marketed as a thriller. The second it got nominated for
It
an
is.
Oscar, like
Yeah.
it's not horror anymore; it's a thriller. But it's a horror. It's horror for sure. But like, horror has that weird stigma, right? Joker's a horror movie.
Sure.
And
Oh.
Best Actor went to him. Like I said, Parasite's a horror movie for sure, but they would never call it that.
Well, you've even got the realistic horror. I mentioned Betty from Tiffany McDaniel recently. That's not in a horror genre or subgenre, but I mean, it is gut-wrenching, it is raw, it is real, it is based on real life events, and it's traumatizing to even read it. It's a lot of realistic horror. So people are reading it and loving it and just loving the prose, the flows, the writing. Tiffany's fantastic. And I'm thinking, you are reading a type of horror. This is a realistic horror. This happened in real life. These people went through these situations, right? So, and sometimes realistic horror is the scariest to me.
Spotlight, for God's sake. I mean, that was horrifying. Like that didn't show a whole lot, but the implications were certainly horrifying,
Precious.
Deep's got a lot of good questions, and I swear I'm missing some of them. If I have Deep, I'm sorry. Have you ever thought of making your short stories into a mini comic series or one-shot comic? I know one of your guys'
Yes.
answers for sure.
So 4 yeses? Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Robert's like, no, I'm good.
3 yeses and a no.
I don't know.
Actually,
I can't
You go.
imagine any of my stuff as a comic book. I can't picture any of it as a comic book. I could see it as like an animated thing. I could see one of my short stories or one of my novellas as an animated thing, maybe, but not as a comic book unless I can get Mitch Gerrits to draw it, who I totally said his name wrong, but whatever.
It works. Sorry, I'm popping up some comments that I missed
Yeah.
here that are just really nice to throw in there.
I actually was doing research earlier today about self-publishing a graphic novel. I'd like to turn most of them into comic books eventually. And like I said, I'm a massive fan of DC, Marvel, superhero, everything. And I'd like to eventually get to write some stuff for DC, so I definitely want to do some graphic novels at some point.
Oh, I like this question from Sabrina.
Yeah.
Would you say people are starting to take horror more seriously now? I sure hope so.
I think so. I would say in the indie level for sure.
Oh, absolutely. It's like blowing up. It's everywhere
Yeah.
I look.
Yeah.
At the higher echelons, I really don't know.
You walk into a Chapters
not.
Indigo here in Canada, which is our Barnes and Noble. We literally
shelf.
have a shelf, maybe a
Yeah.
shelf and a half, and it's Stephen King, which is great. But you would like to see a little bit more. But you go, and that's why everyone's like, don't shop at Amazon. Listen, this is why I shop at Amazon. Because I can't buy what I want in my mainstream store. I don't have a bunch of used bookstores to go find those gems that are around me. And indie. I'm an indie reader, and that's where I get my books from. Unless I can go and buy them directly from the author, like if I was to go to Kalvin's website and pick up the book right there, then I am supporting him and him directly. But unfortunately, again, sometimes when you're not, in the same location as the author, sometimes that's hard because you got to take into consider the exchange
Very
rate, the shipping costs, right? So, I mean, I couldn't live without shopping on Amazon because I wouldn't get any of your guys' books.
Yeah.
But yeah, we definitely, like in the mainstream of things, need to see more horror, more options on the shelves because it's out there. So why are we not featuring it and having it up on sale?
That's kind of and it's like asking why aren't things like heavy metal or something like that? Why isn't that a more popular mainstream thing? And in some ways it is, but it's because there's always going to be a group. There's always going to be something dark that people are not going to want to look at. And
I want to look at it.
I know, but not everybody will, right? Like
And I fall in
Or-
love every day.
Or more to the point, not everyone's going to want to admit that they do or that they will, and it'll just be this secret thing, and that has its value, I think, because it makes it sort of not quite taboo, but
Right.
ultra.
Horror is kind of like the one night stand of the literary world. Like you want to just
I like
want to get in,
that.
have fun, and go. Which is why I think sometimes horror works better as a film than a book, because people just want to say, I want to dedicate 2 hours to this taboo thing, like you said, Marcus, and then be done.
I have to steal that from you. I hope you don't mind. Like, get in and get out.
Just quote me.
Although sometimes I think actually what I'll quote you, forget it. I'm going to steal it and say it was my own because I'm the brilliant person. No, I'm just kidding. I would never do that. It's the Canadian in me. I think I actually said it when I got yours in my stories. I was talking about how it is a larger horror read, that it is a chunkier read, and I was saying that I like that. Don't get me wrong. I love short stories. I love to have let's pull out a thinner girl over here. This one. Oh, and by the way, this Beast of Caliber Lodge. You like Sasquatch. You like Bigfoot. That's what this is. It's Nazi hunters mixed with Bigfoot, and it's by L.J. Doherty.
What, Nazis?
Yeah, and I just started reading it, and it's actually really, really good.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, name me a better Ubermensch than Bigfoot, right?
But I mean, you get something like this. Most people can crank this out in a day, maybe 2 sittings, right? Here, you want a door stopper, right? This thing.
Oh yeah.
This thing is a beast. Yeah. This one's huge.
He's a nice guy.
He's a very nice guy. Really, really fantastic author. You guys all blow me out of this world because, anyways, I don't mind reading a longer book like this,
No,
right?
me either.
If you're jumping into this world of horror, sometimes you don't want to let it go, but sometimes those bite-sized pieces are just perfect too. And you need that quick read. You want to dive in, get out kind of thing. I like that.
Sometimes you want a meal, sometimes you want a snack.
I think I think a lot about, like, why isn't horror more popular? Like, why isn't it being taken as serious? It's like, if you think of the people that right? Like I call them the normies. Like if you think of those people, like they don't read horror. Yeah, they don't want to be scared. I think of my coworkers and stuff. My coworkers are all very sweet. They've all bought my book, but like,
but they're not reading it.
I don't know. I don't know if they are. I'm happy they bought it. That's very sweet.
If they were, you'd know.
Yeah. One of them I know did because she had a lot of questions. But like, it's not for them, and that's who makes up most of the book buying. So like, on the one hand, yeah, my Barnes and Noble is super supportive of me, and I've they've had me in and stuff. But like, and other Barnes and Nobles have too. But like, the horror shelves in my Barnes and Nobles, there's a lot of them, and it's a lot of horror and stuff, but it is mostly Stephen King. But at the same time, like, when you think horror in literature, you think Stephen King. Like, you want to think,
yes, you do. Yeah.
It would be nice to say like, oh yeah, you think Joe Hill, or you think Paul Tremblay, you think, even Lovecraft, but King is who you think of because of the saturation of all the classic movies and stuff like that. And that's fine. And until we have another author who's like that, I would say maybe Adam Neville might be, because he's an indie guy too. So with The Ritual, which was great, and his other work, like maybe he's
James
one that
Herbert, maybe.
Yeah, so it's kind of tough. And Paul Tremblay, if Head Full of Ghosts ever gets made into a movie, that'll hopefully bring attention to other people. Bird Box certainly did.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I like Linda's comment here too, because she is just starting. I'm slowly pulling her over to the dark side, getting her to read all these books with me, and
You're supposed to cackle when you say that. I just don't know if you knew that.
I can't cackle like you can. I can't do the whole. I can't do it like you can.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Listen here, we've seen it. I've got pieces. I got proof. I will put it up.
I blacked out for a few hours, and next thing I know, you were thanking me for an email. I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. You're welcome for the feature. Oh, it's very true.
I think just again, I know I keep going back to the question, but like, I think people are taking horror in general more seriously, especially because of movies by guys like Ari Aster and Jordan Peele. And I don't know if you guys saw the trailer for the one that's written by Alana Glazer, the one that's supposed to be like a modern update of Rosemary's Baby. She was one of the stars of Broad City and one of the writers on Broad City. She's moving into horror, I guess, also, which is awesome. But because of stuff like that, you know, and once the movies are out, people want more. Hopefully people would want more, and hopefully that leads to them buying more than Stephen King, but who knows?
Could we have all of your guys's adapted into film?
Mine? Everybody's? Yeah, that'd be great. Let's do it. Calvin, let's pair up.
I feel bad because I haven't read The Miracle Sin, so I'm saying this and I...
But what did I tell you? Did you finish?
It's great. You said it's great, so...
No. Did you finish The Plucker, though?
No. Are you kidding me? Okay.
Then you're not allowed to read mine until you finish that.
Do you see this? You see this? This is only half of a shelf that you're seeing. There's another shelf underneath it down here. There's also like 40 books on my Kindle. I've got over 100 review reads. It's going to take me probably about a year, maybe even more.
When you're done The Plucker, whenever that is, then you can read mine.
Maybe. I have to read Devil's Rose too. See, I've got Plucker right here.
That's a good one too. Yeah.
Yeah.
As far as how people generally view horror, I think it's, on the one hand, it is easy to say that people don't like horror because it's scary and they just look down on it. But on the other hand, I do think there's a component to the danger that horror poses for authors to kind of, and authors and filmmakers, like, for example, the slasher genre. When Halloween came out, it was, I consider, probably the best horror movie of all time. And then it really exploded the slasher genre. And then within 2 or 3 years, studios realized, hey, we can put a person in a mask, make it for super cheap, low quality, and then just turn it out. And then within like 10 years, the slasher genre was almost dead because everyone just got lazy and just kept being like, person in mask, excessive gore. They forgot what made Halloween scary. They thought it was just the mask and the blood and not the build up and the presence. And then it wasn't until, and then
really
Scream came out and saved the slasher genre. So I think stuff like that hurts horror too, because a lot of times studios, and it gets to where people are like, let's just do the blood. And then if all it is the blood, it really hurts the whole genre.
Cheap, yeah.
So yeah, cheap. So I think the little death and revival of the slasher, I think, kind of works as a metaphor for kind of the whole of horror.
Well, I'll tell you, Cameron Robique is bringing back slasher in book form. I would watch his if they were adapted into film for sure.
Stephen Graham Jones too. He's like
Stephen Graham Jones. Oh yeah.
He's a big slasher guy.
He's been recommended to me a few times.
The only good news is a masterpiece. It's just it's unbelievable.
It is so dark and poetic, and it's just it really is good. But it is a slow burn, but it is like that delicious slow burn, you know?
I don't mind a slow, when it comes to a book, I don't think a slow burn is necessarily a bad thing at all.
No. A lot of people do, but it really isn't. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
We have another one from Deep. Do you write for you, or do you have an audience in mind, or a bit of both?
Who wants to
I
go
write
first?
for the normies. I write for the normies because I you know, the stuff that I like is dark, so I guess I write for me also. So I write for me and the normies. That's how I do it, because the stuff that I know I write is going to freak out like the normal people who are going to read it. Like the hardcore horror people are going to be like, I see what you did there. But
or listen, his way of describing scents, like I can forever smell some of the things that he described in his stories. It will.
Thanks. I'll take it. Mission accomplished.
In a good way. In a good way. Yeah. You guys all have something in your writing, except for you, Marcus. Sorry, haven't read it yet. You're gonna hold that on me forever, I tell you. But yeah, you guys all have something that just really stands out, and just there's something in, I don't want to give spoilers away, there's something in Kalvin's book that will forever disgust me out to the core, and I don't even like eating out anymore because of it. I think I messaged him like the second I got to that part. And then I listened to his book on audiobook again recently, like that 1 year anniversary, a year apart from reading it to listening to it. And it was even worse on audiobook. Just saying that, Kalvin. And then crows. I'm terrified of crows now. Sorry, I budged in there before everybody got to answer that question. Do you have an audience in mind, or do you do it just for you, or a bit of both?
I write for me. I have to. It's you have to start. You have to at least start there. And like when I wrote mine, I didn't know if anyone would be interested in it. I've actually been not only pleased but surprised by the fact that people have read it, the fact that people have reviewed it, the fact that people have said good things about it. Those are all,
raving.
Well, it's.
I'm telling you, raving. I see your guys' books pop up everywhere, and I'm like, yes, I know him. Yes, absolutely. It's really exciting to see, sitting from the sideline, seeing your guys' pop up everywhere.
I still think people are being kind a lot of the time, but. That's just it. I mean, I start by just writing something that occurs to me, and if it holds water, it holds water. It's nice to see that it does. So at the very least, I think you have to start there. And as far as an audience, you just hope that comes. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same way. On, like, for example, Nightmare, I didn't have any idea if anyone was going to like it. I mainly just... Because, like, at the end of the day, you could write the best book ever, and it's always going to not work for people. You can't control if other people like the book. So I always just try to focus on if I hadn't have wrote this, but I had read it, would I have liked it?
Yeah.
Because all I can control is I write for me and then, again, my immediate family. If I like the book, and that's kind of one of the things, too, I've gotten more comfortable with, like the second book that I'm going to release this October. I was really nervous about Nightmare when it was coming out, but the second one, I'm really happy with how it turned out, and all of my family really like how it turned out, so I'm less nervous about the reception, because at the end of the day, if everyone hates it, I still can read it. So
yeah, it's got to be for you.
You got to be happy with
proud.
it.
Absolutely. Yeah. What about you, Kalvin?
It really depends on what I'm writing. I'd say most of the time, like if I'm writing something, the typical horror thing that I work on most of the time, it's my fiance. And sadly, she's the one that gets to enjoy it the least because she has to listen to me tell the story a billion times. I will just be struggling with something, and I'll go sit out there and be like, let me tell you the entire arc of this 5-book structure. And she'll sit there and listen to me for 2 hours, and then I'll go write the book. So
and here we go.
Yes, it's very much like that. And she just sits and goes, It's fantastic. But then if I'm writing, I wrote a cartoon thing that was on Cartoon Network, and that was not for her. There was a joke that I was like, I really hope she laughs at this joke. And luckily, it's one of the only things that verbatim stayed in the thing when it aired. But I was thinking more of my kids when they were little. I mean, obviously they're grown now, so they don't get to enjoy it when they were little. So it just depends. I mean, every story's got an audience, and sometimes that audience is you, and sometimes it's somebody else. And I think I write better when I know the person I want to enjoy it.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. Absolutely. I've got another question here. If you guys don't mind, I'm going to answer this one.
Okay.
Clint, they will not recommend other books. You need to go and pick up every single one of their books and read them. Period. That's it. No other.
I'm going to recommend Marcus's book just because Nichi hasn't read it. And it was good enough for somebody to steal it from my desk. So
I
didn't know I was coming to a mud bath.
This has just been 2 hours of us all trashing on Marcus.
No,
I'm gonna buy another copy of it, Marcus, just in case.
But wait, listen, it's gonna totally come back on me, Chad. I'm telling you, because I am the one that hasn't read it yet. Just wait, I'm gonna get messages after this. Everyone's gonna be poking me and prodding me and say, "What the hell?" It's definitely on the list. But hey, listen, I bought it. So
You did.
I
And
bought it
I'm-
with my own money. It wasn't sent to
It's-
me. I bought it.
You did.
So I'll get to it when I can get
I fought
to it.
that. Yeah, I'm sure you remember. You're like, so how much is this again? I'm like, I'll let you know. Let me just send it to you, and we'll, when you get there, you can decide how much you want to pay.
No,
That's
that
right.
was
That's-
for the giveaway.
Oh, was that it? Oh, yeah.
This
There you
one
go.
I bought off Amazon. See, I don't have a
Oh.
signed copy. What the hell?
Well,
See?
we'll fix that someday.
Yeah. I'll have to send it to you.
Yeah.
Or when the Comic-Con or something starts up again, I'll have to say, listen, I'm here. I'm in town.
I could take a trip to Edmonton. Not a big
Help
deal.
me out.
Yeah.
That's right. Go see the West Edmonton Mall, which is quite dead right now.
I've been to the West Edmonton Mall. It's humongous.
It's awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to read that one. Sorry, going back to Jones and his writing. Any plans to translate your books into Russian, for example? So I'm assuming Christina wants to be able to read all of these.
First of all, привет. That's the only word I know in Russian. Anyway, that would be cool. I have no idea how to do that.
I
But I'm
I
sure- yeah.
responded to her. I have a friend who's Russian. She's an author. I could just get her to translate.
There you go.
Ooh.
If you all want me to talk to her and have her translate all of your stuff into Russian,
You guys better pay her some good, cashola there. Thank you, Clint. Yes, that's right. Go and buy all of their books. That's what I would recommend for now. There's others, but
If I could recommend one horror book that I love, it's actually one of my favorite books ever. It's The Troop by Nick Cutter. Make it that one.
Disgusting
If you
will
have to
make
make it
you
one.
just your stomach will just twist and turn.
Yeah.
He's Canadian. We have to.
Yeah.
Um,
There's some Lord of the Flies in that too. Oh, hey.
listen,
Hey.
I will
this guy.
bully Marcus to the end of day because
I like this. I like your mug too. Right on. This guy. This is my guy.
he's a good guy.
Hey, there you go.
So
Hey,
there
see?
you go. There you go. See, there we've got
So
some
I do have a
Marcus
cheering
love.
section.
Hey, I tried to read your book, Marcus. I brought it to work so I could read it, and it was stolen from me.
And it was
Because
stolen.
it was so good that somebody stole it from me.
It just took the cover and the back, and it was gone.
That was it?
That's
Honestly,
it.
a
That's
cover
it.
goes a long way.
Oh, yeah.
It's
It's
true.
your book's first
Absolutely.
impression, I always say. So
And
clearly,
they say
it's a
don't
good
judge
one.
a book by its cover, but I'm telling you, especially for us bookstagrammers, you have a nice cover, and we will do a cover by 100%.
I think, ironically enough, a book is maybe the one thing you can judge by its cover.
Yeah.
Maybe
that's-
not completely. I mean, it's something. It's
You never
it's
know what the
there.
guts is
yeah.
until you dive into it. But
Yeah.
absolutely, the cover has to be eye-catching, and all of you guys have eye-catching covers, and I can't wait to see what else you guys release and the covers for those as well. And of course, I'll buy every single one of them. I still have to pick. See, I mean, I could feel bad too. I still have to pick up Chad's. I still have it on my list to pick up. I've got it on Kindle, and I've
Well, I
read
still
it.
have to get Roberts and Chad's myself. I have yours, Calvin. I'm going to start that after I'm done The Fear, which I'm almost done. That's a good one too. The Fear by Spencer Hamilton.
I just got that one a few weeks
Yeah.
ago somewhere on my list.
Here was one question that I got from a friend. If I can ask a question.
Yeah, is it in here? Did I miss it?
No,
Okay.
It was. I actually really love this question. When writing about subjects on the darker side of the spectrum, how easy is it to get trapped in the macabre mind frame? And what are the best ways to cleanse your palate and return to life as a normal human being afterwards?
Ooh.
I'll let you know when I figure it out. Like,
Wait. So are we talking to the real Marcus here? Or,
no. This is
Okay.
no, a friend of mine. But
No, I was meaning, like, are you stuck? Like, are we talking to the real Marcus, or are you stuck in your character?
oh,
Ha ha ha! Joke is completely.
I don't even know anymore.
Woo!
Aren't we always in character?
I mean, if you're a good writer, then all of your characters are little bits of you anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
parts and pieces of family, friends, people you love. Yeah, absolutely. I like asking that question a lot. Is there anybody that influenced any of the characters in your stories, and why? And apparently, Kalvin wrote me into one of his short stories here and has killed me off brutally from
Yep.
what it sounds like.
Which story was this? I might have to check.
It's one of the stories in the book I'm putting together of short stories called Bury My Body Somewhere Nice.
See, Marcus wants to get me back for not reading his book. I'm telling you.
You don't know.
That's too
Bury my
funny.
body somewhere else.
Actually, I think some people don't want to see how they would be killed off, but I've actually I enjoyed that. I've actually asked that to some questions to authors. Is if you were to write me in a book, how would you kill me off? But of course, the author has to know me for a little bit first, right?
I think it would be an honor.
You don't think so? They have to.
No, they
don't have to know my personality at all.
They would have to know you. Yeah.
They'd have to know what way do you absolutely least want to die, then do that.
Fire, drowning.
Didn't expect an answer.
No, drowning, great. Drowning.
This is the first time
I hope you're taking notes.
Oh, fire, drowning. Two
fire,
that
drowning,
are very
like both of
unlikely to
them
occur
together?
at the same time. Would that happen? Maybe in
Slowly
Titanic.
poisoning me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or even just like taking a fisherman's hook and just gouging my eyes and my whole face apart. I mean, stuff like that happens in these books, these slasher books. So, like something like that.
Ever seen Hatchet? That was there's a few good kills in that one.
Yeah. Thanks for coming, Sabrina. This is your moment to
Thank
shine.
you.
I'm assuming that means Marcus, because we were giving him a hard time. Sorry there, Marcus.
I was not giving Marcus a hard time.
No, you were not.
Yeah.
I would like to go on record.
Because you
Bury
guys
my body
are
somewhere else. That was the title.
because you guys are buddies in the hills above the grist mill by Kalvin Ellis. Fantastic read.
I think he might mean the short story thing. It was called Bury
Oh.
My Body Somewhere Else, I think.
Yeah, I'm still working on it. I've got some of the stories finished. I'm still working on some of them. So
It's exciting, and I'm excited for book 2 to come. I need some more Paisley.
I'm working on it very slowly, but I'm working on it.
Hey, that's okay. We'll wait.
We were asked
polish.
in one of the comments on the post I did for this earlier today when our books are forthcoming, our next ones.
Oh, that's hard. You guys they're your babies. You have to take your time with them.
I mean, ideally, in the next year or two, it's hard to say.
Mm-hmm.
It's being worked on. I promise that.
I'm shooting for January, but I'm not holding my breath.
Yeah.
I feel bad because we kind of skipped over your question about, if you get stuck in your characters. Sorry.
My next book is coming out October 5th. It's a crime thriller
There you
called
go.
Shade.
Oh.
So you're ahead of the curve with from us.
Okay, but
Yeah.
didn't you release Nightmare? Was it October 5th?
October 6th.
So almost exactly 1 year apart. That's really cool.
I'm hoping to release all my books on the 1st October of every new year. Don't know if that's always going to happen, but that's the goal.
Pretty sure that's the way to summon a demon.
Well,
Go for it.
But he also sounds like he's extremely organized, and he's got different areas, he's got his whiteboard and everything. So you may be able to pull that off if you keep yourself. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, you do have Kalvin's book. Get on it. Why haven't you read it? I guess I shouldn't say that because you guys can give me a hard time for. Damn it! I'm just walking into these. Sorry, Robert. You were about to say something.
Oh, I have a third collection ready to go, but I'm just waiting for the amount of time to lapse on the contracts because it's like 85% stories that have been placed elsewhere. So I just need to wait until all of those are done, and then bingo bango, third collection. And
That's exciting.
I've got my YA novel out on submission right now. So.
Oh,
Nice.
that's the one that you were talking about in your spotlight, and you were saying it's something that you've never seen done before.
Yeah.
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 I'm excited for that one. Are you kidding me? It sounds so good.
I'm excited about it. I've gotten some really nice feedback on it from some other authors, so it kind of lets me know that I'm on the right track with it, which is cool. So, yeah, just waiting to hear back. It's a long process.
Looks like somebody's going to be reading your book there, Kalvin.
Thank you.
See? got to do this more often.
Right?
Yeah.
It was totally
Oh, no.
it was totally my hunk joke. I'm telling you.
That sold it.
Okay, here's another
Next time I'll
question
wear
from
something
Pete.
low cut.
Oh, didn't somebody say that they were gonna come? Never mind. Let's just go to Deep's question.
That was
here.
a great place to end that sentence.
How did you handle negative individuals in your life that didn't possibly still don't support you or don't understand your writing career? Does your family support you? Do you have any of those negative people?
As far as I go, my family's really supportive on it. Like,
Yeah.
they're all super supportive, think it's cool. So I don't really have anyone that I know personally that doesn't. So I got really lucky, I guess.
Yeah.
Which is funny because, like, more of a, not really a riding family. Like, not that they can't ride or anything, but, like, it's just not kind of what we all do. But yeah, everyone's super supportive and it's great. I got really lucky.
Well, that's good.
Yeah,
It's good to
mine
have,
too.
yeah.
My father's been really supportive. He was one of the first people to read my book when it was still being written. So he waded through a lot of messy stuff and offered critique and things like that. So that was, everyone I know has been real. I think the biggest detractor is yourself a lot of the time, right?
Mhm.
It's, we all have those, this is garbage moments, and then you keep working
So
on it and
many.
it becomes less garbage.
Yeah, everybody's supportive in my sphere of influence. So yeah, nothing but support, whether it's, they order it online or like if before COVID and stuff, like if I did a reading somewhere, they would come and show love. So yeah, everybody's been cool with me.
Well, that's good. I like hearing that. How about you, Kalvin?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's been really supportive of me. It just when I finally published the book, I didn't really tell many people that it was about to be published. I was just like, "Oh, hey, everybody, I wrote a book." And luckily, most of the people in my world were just like, "Well, that makes sense. Yeah, it's about time." And
I knew it was coming.
I think a lot of the people closest to me, my family, not my fiance and my children, but they were super supportive. But my brother's sister's mom and stuff, they were just so used to just assuming they've always just put me down for everything. And so when I succeeded in spite of that, I think they just got tired of doing that. And so they're like, "Oh yeah, good job.
Mm-hmm.
Because they didn't want to look like an ass on such a large scale. So. I'll take what I can get.
Well, I tell you, all of you guys are doing fantastic jobs, and I'm seeing your guys' books everywhere. People are loving them, raving reviews. And so, I mean, even if there was somebody out there that wasn't supporting, just stick it to them because you guys are doing your thing and you're doing it well.
Nah, I don't think I'd ever, even if somebody did, no, like if someone had something to say. Well, no,
I'll do it for you. I'll do it for you. It's good. No, it's good.
That's
I'll
fine.
do it for you.
I'll point you in their direction. That's fine. Okay. But I mean, if somebody did have something to say, if they paid their money, they can say what they want. It's not going to stop me. It's not going to.
No, absolutely not.
No, it depends on what it is. But I mean, if somebody doesn't like something, like not everything is for everybody, right? So.
No, there's gonna be the market for sure. You're gonna have those people that are gonna love your stuff, and people that are gonna think it's okay, and people that might even hate it. But
and people who will never read it. So
we can fix those.
It takes all types to make a world. Yeah,
it's very true. Okay, well, I have kept you guys for a really long time. It is now past the 2-hour mark, and I mean, Kalvin, gosh, he's still at work, you guys.
I mean.
But you got to love a job that you can do this for 2
paid
hours.
overtime.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't get paid overtime.
Dang it.
I don't. I'm salaried.
The only quiet place you could go to do this.
Well, I finished. I had a client up until 7:00, and I didn't want to make you wait while I drove home. So
yeah, it's okay. We're having technical difficulties anyhow. It happens, right?
I probably could have made it home.
Exactly, but you have like the professional background too, which is really
I mean
there's a great sibling dynamic going on in this chat. I like this between everyone.
What are you talking about? There's no reason why I put you guys together in the same show.
No, not at all.
Never.
She said suspiciously. There. That's how you
No,
write.
I did. In all honesty, I had so many people. I put out it's funny how sometimes you put out a tweet, and I'm not great with Twitter, but I put it out there, and I had so many people that were like, I want to do one. I had a list of over 20, and I'm like, listen, I mean, I'm Superwoman, but I'm not that Superwoman where I could do an individual live show for every single one of you. So I've got an idea. Are you
At the same time.
At the same time.
Just look like the Muppet Show.
All right. But yeah, no, absolutely. Anyone that was willing to go in and do, a few people in one show. And I thought you guys would just be a fun mix for sure. Because you guys all, especially Marcus and Robert and Kalvin, I know you guys all have the same quirky, fun, goofy sense of humor. Chad's more quiet. I always say Chad's quite quiet. Even you watch his YouTube channel and you watch his videos, and he's very quiet. I would like to have some of that calming presence in me, if you could teach me.
What's your YouTube channel, Chad?
Chad Nicholas.
That's simple enough.
Yeah.
I guess I could have just looked that up. Thank you.
Yeah, I haven't posted anything in a while, but I'm trying to get back to it. I actually did just film I did a review for my own book, Nightmare, and it was a different topper. It's a different topper review. I had a lot of fun with it. Yeah. So it's more high energy for sure.
Awesome.
So I should post that sometime next week.
Yay! Except for Robert, because she's already got it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And she's already read it. Yeah, no, absolutely. And Kalvin, actually, he's got a YouTube channel, but he hasn't uploaded in over a year.
Almost a year now. It'll be a year in June. Yeah.
Oh,
I keep wanting to do it. I'm just so
it's
busy
time.
right now.
There's other stuff on the go. And I mean, the beginning of COVID was kind of like this rock star moment for so many people because they had a little bit of extra time on their hands. Yeah. And now people are back to work, out of the house, family, writing comes first, 100%.
I was doing a lot of consulting work and stuff, and when COVID hit, it just made it so much easier to have time, and then I was so busy again.
Yeah, absolutely.
I wrote that YA novel while I had COVID.
While you had it?
Yeah, while he had it.
I had bad symptoms. I was paralyzed for a night, so that was cool. But yeah, the rest of the time I wrote a YA novel.
So I have trouble writing when I feel good. I can't imagine doing it sick.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I'm a little sleepy. I can't do it.
Just look at any excuse not to do it.
You guys are hilarious. Okay, well, we might as well end this here because like I said, I've kept you guys for over 2 hours, and it's getting late for some of you guys in the EST there. But yeah, this was great. It's such great questions. So many people have popped in. Hopefully this will definitely bring some more sales your way. Clinton, if you're still here, again, I repeat, nobody else's, just these guys. Okay, start here. You've already got one of them. Just pick up the other 3. Marcus, we could do a buddy read,
Buddy read of my book? That's the most delightfully self-indulgent thing I've ever heard. Sure.
Exactly. No, absolutely. And,
has that been done before? Think about it.
Oh, and if you want to get to a book and you want to read Kalvin's and you don't have time to physically read it at this moment, it is on Audible.
Oh, I have it right now. Oh, it's
saying.
No.
Not you. I know. Oh. I'm sorry. I'm poking Clinton because he was like, I just haven't read it because I've got too many. Well, get the audiobook out. Sorry. I know you'll read it. Okay. Anyway, this is going all sorts of weird now. But yeah, thank you guys so much for coming on and spending time with me. I'm 100% fangirling because even though I get to talk to you guys and we, chat on the regular and connect, it just, I don't know, still fangirling because you guys are like my celebrities. Hands down.
This is the first time we've all talked to each other.
Yeah,
this way in any way other than text. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, or other than doing, some type of pre-recorded thing too, right? So it's different, especially when they're not wearing all of that crazy makeup.
I just had that laying around.
Did you really? You didn't
Actually,
go out
yeah.
and buy it just for that? Okay. Could you
I have
imagine if
boxes of Halloween stuff. Shocking, I'm sure. But
I was not expecting that. When you told me your idea, I was right into it. And then when you sent me that clip, I was like, no way. I didn't think it was going to be this good. But yeah, thank you guys so much. I will keep fangirling. I will buy all of your guys' work. I will read it time and time again. I've already read Kalvin's book twice. Yeah, and I promise I will read this. And I promise, Chad, I will pick up a physical copy of your book so I can actually show it in photos and all of that good stuff. And yeah, thank you guys. I will end this here. I don't think we have any other questions.
No.
No, yeah, absolutely.
You do a lot for us and like everyone needs a cheerleader, and I think you're really kind of like one of the best ones out there right now. So
Absolutely.
Thank you for on behalf of us all, really.
Listen, you guys, this is your guys' spotlight, not me.
Well, some of us wouldn't be here without you. Yeah, you were the first person that shared my book to a large audience. So I can't thank you enough for that.
And now, because of me, Devon freaking SAWA.
Right?
And we're back. It came full circle.
We gotta end
it so
there.
did.
But seriously, when I saw that, my heart dropped. I mean, I went around telling everyone I knew, and I just showed them. I just shoved it in their face.
So did I.
Yeah. I mean, how could you not? Absolutely. You were so calm when I messaged you about that. You were just so calm and collective. I'm like, what the hell?
I had just been waiting months for it because we talked about movies and books for so long before he finally was like, oh, I want to read your book. And I was like, oh, good. I thought you'd never ask. So I sent it to him. And then it was like months after he got the book. Well, maybe like 2 months after he got the book that he even had time to read it. So I was super stoked.
You tell him that I am like one of his biggest fans. And yeah, he should give me a statement to put on my channel or something.
A blurb.
Ask him.
You want to
just kidding.
Don't YouTube.
Yeah, just kidding. Do not bug Devon freaking SAWA, okay? Do not bug him because he would hate me forever after that.
He's a very nice guy. I don't think he'd hate anybody.
No, he really is, and I shouldn't say that. I've never met him, but just watching him that was so freaking cool to see. I mean, I would be just blurting that from the rooftops for the rest of my life, I tell you. And he wants to read the next one, does he not?
He does. He asked me if I would send it to him right when the second I have an arc, he wants me to send it to him. So.
That's incredible. My God. Okay. I said I was leaving. I said we were going to end this, and this is what happens. Yes, Leah, you want to buddy read The Miracle Sin. I am so there. I love buddy reading because it also holds me accountable to actually reading. Because I have very little time to read. So there you go. Buddy read of The Miracle Sin. Anybody that's in, then join along.
I've read it.
I don't have it, but I'll pick it up.
Yeah, that would be so fun. Yeah, see this. You guys are buying each other's books. We all knew you were going to cry. You said you needed a good cry. We're good.
Yeah, from reading the book, not from whatever. Whatever this is.
We've been trying to get you to cry all night.
Yeah, that's right.
Doesn't take a lot.
I told you I would drive there and I would give you an ass kicking. Would that help? I'm short. I'm really, really short though, so I don't know how well I would do.
That got suddenly violent.
I know. This is Canadian, guys.
Yeah, we're not so nice. I'm telling you.
It's a mask. It's all a mask.
Yay, Linda's in for a buddy read too. One mass buddy reading of Marcus's book, The Miracle Sin. Am I making up for not reading it yet, Marcus?
I'm starting to get anxiety.
Oh hell, he's scared that we're gonna hate it. Don't worry.
No. It's not that. It's just before now nobody was buddy reading anything, and now.
Oh, we were always buddy reading. Are you kidding? I've buddy read Kalvin's book, Chad's book
with Linda, I believe.
Yeah, I think she was just right after me. Like I had just finished and she started, so we just kind of gabbed about it. And
how do you buddy read anyway? Do you read like a chapter each and then discuss, or do you just go at your own pace and then?
I'm usually pretty easygoing because I know people are busy. I work full time. I've got 2 kids. I understand that there's going to be days. I'm also on a board, so even though I leave work, doesn't mean I'm not going to have nights where I have meetings that I have to do from home. Yeah, so I'm lucky if I can get like 20 minutes of reading in a day, and some days I can't even get any reading in. So I'm one of those people that, is like, you know what? Let's plan it for this month. By the end of the month, let's hope we have it done, and we'll chat about it. If we get it done before then, great. If the person gets ahead, that's fine. If I get ahead, whatever. But some people will do like so many pages or so many chapters a day to really keep themselves situated. So it all depends on what the person wants, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm easygoing.
There's no one or right way, I guess.
That's right. I was supposed to buddy read Robert's piece, and she hadn't received her copy yet. And then she did receive her copy, and then we just, like, I said, are we going to read this? And I don't know if she forgot or what. So I just went on without her. I'm like, sayonara, see you later. I'm going to read it anyways. But I think she's reading it now. So when she's done, I'll have to poke her and be like, what did you think?
I think Selena, right? Yeah, she finished it. Yeah, she seemed to like it.
Oh, good. I'll have to poke her then, because I knew she had started it, and I'm like, yes, finally I could talk to her about it. So, well, great. I don't think we have any other questions. Again, I said we were going to go already, so now it's actually time to go. Thank you guys for coming on with me. We are now at 2 hours and 15 minutes. People just love you. And anytime, you guys are welcome anytime. You guys want to come back, just poke me.
Definitely.
Will do.
Sounds good. Okay. See you, everyone.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks very much.
Bye.
Bye.